Welcome everyone. This is Evelyn here and now. I haven't done one of my long videos since I believe it was Lionsgate, and here we are approaching the full moon in Leo, so there's some connection there. I'm going back to the 21st of January and I'm going to work my way forward, so we'll see how much I get done. I will put markers down below for the time start of each of the reads that I do show you. And I was just meditating to see what message was coming through for you. And I happened to wake up this morning to emerald and blue. It felt like a royal blue with the emerald color this morning. And when I was just meditating for you, the first thing that came in was Lemuria, and then waves. And then I saw a green third eye with the pupil. And then the pupil was cleared, like using the green light to clear any shadow in your third eye with emerald green light. The green rays of the golden sun accord, speaking with confidence of the sun from the green heart bridge where all are one. And that's the message that came through for you in my meditation just now. So we are going to go back. There's so much really cool and interesting messages that have come through really since August. But I was guided away from doing my long videos for a while. I have had a full house and a lot of animals I'm taking care of. So I really needed the time to, just take a break. But I have been posting bits and pieces of all of that information in my Instagram and TikTok posts, which also go to Facebook. Most of them are on YouTube Shorts, but not all of them. That's probably the last place I put all of them. It's always Instagram and Facebook go first, and then TikTok, and then most of them do go to YouTube as well. So we're going back to January 21st, and just before the video too, I pulled a card from the Sevens, the Oracle of the Seven energies. And it's really funny because the underlying energy says truth be told. And I rarely use that expression. I would say I don't use it, but I'm sure I have in the past at some point. But it came up in my read that I just did, truth be told, that expression. And the 14 is the Temperance card of patience and balance, of patient angels, but also could be the flip side of that, which has to do with impatience and losing one's temper. And we are switching from Pisces to Aries, as we already did in Neptune, and then Saturn will go into Aries as well. But right now, Saturn is still in Pisces. And today, Mercury is still within 2 degrees conjunct of Venus today. So, and this is the last day of that, I think the 2 degrees, but it's going away from each other now. So, but there's a bunch of conjunctions that come up in February too. You might want to check that out. I know that I believe the conjunction of Saturn and Neptune comes to 1 degree about February 8th and for about a month. So that's very important. I was just getting the responsibility of your dreams. And so the underlying energy with the truth be told here, and TikTok is underneath that with the 30, which is the 4 of Wands, and the home, celebration, union. And then the wise owl opening the window to see the truth. And there's lots of red hearts in that card. Whereas the TikTok, it feels like a more stressful energy. Where here, using your wisdom and being open then brings you to the heart here, which is a much more peaceful vibration. And then we have a mask down here too. I was noticing the empty eyes, which is like pushing you towards the third eye. And then the third eye is being represented here by the owl here. So we have the 4 of Wands and the Temperance card, which is a beautiful energy of patience and union. And then the And that's the underlying energy. Aw, and then prior to that is soulmates. So we have the penguins, and penguins came up in the past couple weeks as well. 41 is the Ace of Cups. And all that glitters is gold is behind that, with the 16, which is the Tower. So some sudden event of gold, which I'll be talking about gold today as well. Here we have this masculine and feminine energy. Very interesting that in the Journey of Love deck, the wheelchair card, where there's like a man or woman, it's hard to tell which, is sitting in a wheelchair, but they look to have a Thoth mask on. And this just came up. And who was opposite that? I'm trying to remember the card that was the feminine energy there. But there was this, and it was coming up for me, was relating to my parents. So there is a parental connection here. And you'll see here in the read today, we have the Emperor and the Empress together here and both upright. So there's a parental energy at the top of this pile of gold. This sudden energy that comes in. Regarding the soulmates and the Holy Grail, the Ace of Cups. But then these two cards come up after that. Tick-tock, truth be told. And again, this is like, don't be late. The time on this clock is 10. I would say between 12 and 13. It's right in the middle between the 1 and the 2 of 10. So 10, 12 to 13. And again, the 14 was standing out to me just then, which is that Temperance card of patience. And here we have the clock as well. And again, the alignment with that. Tick-tock. How the time just flies when you open your eyes. All right, so again, this is all just the underlying energy, okay? There's Scorpio and Sagittarius energy there as well. And in both these cards, I don't know if you can see, but there's a shadow mother type of energy hanging overhead. And it's, has very much a feeling of Mother Mary. I don't know if that's what the book intends, but that's the energy I'm getting from it right now. The first card that came out for you guys was Treasure Island with the number 9, which is the Hermit. And of course, endings as well. As we're now, I wanted to bring this up. They're reminding me that with this 9 card. Even though this is 2026, and that's adds to a 1, which is a 1 year, that's the collective energy. That doesn't mean you're personally in a 1 year. You'll know your year by your birthday. So if you add your birthday and you add the year, and this is from the book of Numerology in the Divine Triangle. You add the year, single digits, like 2026 is 2 plus 0 plus 2 plus 6, but the day and the date, you use the whole number. Like today is 30, so you don't use 3, use 30. So today would be 1 plus 30 plus 2 plus 0 plus 2 plus 6, which today is the 41 energy of the Ace of Cups, the Holy Grail. So you can, your specific yearly number starts not from the calendar year, but from your birthday and then continues into the next year, your calendar birthday. So that's your personal year. So you just add that up and that's how you know what year you're in. So use your birthday plus the current year. So if you were born before January, like in December, you're still in 2025 because you started your year in December, and that'll go to next December. So for example, I'm not in a 1 year, I'm in a 9 year. I always catch up to the collective towards the end of the year because my birthday's in September. Okay, so we have the 9 of the Hermit and the Turtle, which is slow. But it's delivering treasure. And instead of coming, it could be coming from a treasure island to make a delivery, but also reaffirming that you are the island of treasure, as the turtle actually can represent the divine masculine as well. But here we have the hermit going within and taking their time, as opposed to that clock card of stress and trying to get things done. We have Treasure Island, and then these two cards came out together, Regeneration and Clean It Up. The 46, which is the Six of Cups, and the 21, which is the World. But they're also very much, for me, this is more, I guess is more of a Cancer card, but there's definitely, my daughter's soul number is 46, so for me it's coming up as Pisces. So there's very strong Pisces here with Virgo energy with the Hermit. And this is, you know, represents volcanic energy, which is one of the themes that will come up in my messages today. And look, the tree is blue and green. I love that. And there's blue and green in the turtle as well. So there's a lot of that aqua energy, but was coming up as the blue and gold and the colors in between. And what can grow in the worst or most harsh circumstances, the regeneration, right? Like that flower that grows in the crack in a highway where it's not supposed to come out. You know, a branch coming out of a volcano that you shouldn't see, but is. And that brings up the olive trees too. So for olive oil, it's the olive trees in Morocco are supposed to be really good because it's really hard for them to grow there. So the ingredient, I don't know what the ingredient's called in the olive oil, it's supposed to be so positive for us, but it's much stronger in the trees that struggle to grow. And years ago too, I was getting that same reference to Venice and the water from Venice, like something that grows within the waters of Venice that's going to have some kind of very strong property in it. I don't know if that would be moss or algae, but I think it was along those lines. And also the same relevance came up with the pine trees in Canada. So you can look into that more if you'd like to, but that was definitely coming up here. The treasures that suddenly appear out of nowhere, the regeneration, how quickly we're able to come back from destruction and clean it up. Going from the waters of Lemuria to the destruction of Atlantis. I'm sorry, I forgot to put my mic on, so we're just going to go with it like this. You should be able to hear me fine. I'll try to make sure I stay close to the device. And I'm getting from Lemuria to Atlantis and now we're here, the dear ones, to clean it up. To clean up and 21 is the world, to clean up our world, to dust it off, like the polishing touches. Very interesting. All right, so let me put those up there. There we go. All right, so going back to, and this page starts, I wrote start at the beginning, and I wrote this that day on the 21st of January. So I guess we're starting at the right place. Start at the beginning, right? When in doubt, go back to what's known. And here is this first read. Okay, you can take a snap of that and follow along if you want. And it is 14 on the clock. So put that down. All right, and the decks used here, we have the Journey of Love, the Shaman Oracle. What is the third one? Oh, that's the third one is Metatron. The fourth one is Fortune's Oracle, and then the fifth deck is the Rider-Waite energies. So I'm not going to go into every detail because I'm trying to get a lot of information into you from this date, the 21st, through today, the 30th. And I did go into a bit of gematria with numbers that came up, but I'm not going to go too much into that because that would take a lot of time. So with these decks and the underlying energies being the heart of the moment, the spirit of the river, boundaries, lovers, and the emperor reversed, and the numbers coming through 11111 and then 57315 as well, and they were all pulled between 1106, so it was exactly 1106, 7, 8, 9, and then 1111 for the last deck, the Rider-Waite. So with the underlying energy of the Tower, the Ten of Cups, the Temperance, the Moon, and the Emperor reversed, the sudden heart opening, Scorpio perhaps, emotional fulfillment and movement toward adventure, which is the Advent you are, right? The second coming energy coming up here. And also sorry about that. And also the advertising, ADV, of the ENT, the giant humanoid talking tree that you are. The sudden heart opening here. The spirit of the river. The old wise shaman, in contrast to the young fairy girl. Pegasus birthed from the mind of Poseidon via Medusa's, and the number 4 head was coming up here. And Medusa was coming up here. And then the number 4 head, and the number 4 keeps coming up for me now as the plus sign, and then the one line that creates the 4 from the plus. His thought, or Thoth, and her creation. And here we are talking about Poseidon and Medusa. Remember that Pegasus and Chrysaor were supposed to be birthed from her forehead. Pegasus and Acis is axle, or axis. And Russian clicks were coming up here. A sharp-pointed and edgy energy, where peg is the axle or pin, and then that was taken back to my pin example if you've been following me, where the head of the pin and the back of the pin is the housing of the masculine support, with the 2 circles at the bottom of the pin one being the masculine that attaches to the back of the pin, and the other circle attaches to the sharp part of the pin, which feeds. It's the feminine energy feeding from the sun, and then creates a vacuum to close the pin, and then the masculine can use that energy. And then when the vacuum is used up, then the pin falls open to the sun again for the feminine to collect the energy. So that was coming up with this here. So peg is the axle or pin of which the wheel revolves. The head, right? Or the head revolves, or the world turns, allowing Atlas to carry a heavy load, being seen and heard around the world. A map or template, blueprint, or of intent, or int-ent, the intelligent point of the giant humanoid talking tree. Intent, source's tree, which is the T-E-N-T, the Lord Master Priest in between the 2 trees, the 2 T's, or TNT, some kind of explosive energy there, mastering the in-between state, in between, or using a teenager perhaps to fill the gaps. The EE, or energy exchange, in being twins, and .tm was coming up as U in Egyptian. Notice that twins is also the T-win between the tree and the S of the sea. And win itself is two U's going in. The T and the C. The T is also representative of the sun, because if you look at the letter T from the top, it could be a circle with a dot in the middle, which then is the leg of the T. And then the C, which represents, or is represented by the S and the spiral, very much the masculine and feminine energies. So you have the T and the C, the crystal two U's in the sine wave of Christa Sophia, or Christ O Sophia, of light, love, and wisdom. The cry path, O wise Ea, Sophia. The 0 point and cone, which was coming up as an eddy, or the cyclone that creates in the water in the ocean. And the symbols were coming up, and I'll show you that here. It's right here. I can get my finger right here. The symbols here came up after the eddy. The HP of the horsepower, but you can see High Priestess in that as well. At the plus, or the crossroads of the O of Omega, but also the source and the human embodied by source, the Omega energy. And then so Phi, or expansive, creating outside the lines of the Alpha, which again is the root of all this. And the A of the Alpha also can represent the mountain and then tunneling through the mountain, as opposed to bridging or walking around. The High Priestess circles at the C, and again the eddy in the C. The 0 point to Omega. Excuse me, I was just getting back and coming back to me. So this is again reminding you to keep coming back to your heart. So I looked up the symbol of a circle with an X in it, and I went to spiritual with Liza.com, which was just talking about powerful protection, an energy shield that repels any negative and attracts positive to reconnect with inner self, which we're just saying. The unity of opposites, the integration of the divine masculine and divine feminine to open the portal, and the ancient wisdom or transcendence, embracing unity and interconnectedness with all existence. And the reason the circle with the X came up for me is because Robert Edward Grant was also coming up, and he's having a trip, and the symbol of the trip involves the X and the Omega and the A. So I think it's A, X, Omega. And the Omega is coming up as the circle opened up, like the gates opening up. And ultimately it was coming up as the Omega around the X, as the circle with the X in it, but now open to the 3D, where the 8 running through this is the 3D, and then the other side of the 8 runs through the X into the 5D. And the horseshoe is the protection covering it, but now open to 3D. So that's where that ended up. But that wasn't until several days later. So the Emperor becomes so pressured by the weight of the world, the number 4 bends over and becomes the A, right? So if it bends forward and touches the ground, the 4 then literally becomes the capital letter A. The Emperor becomes Atlas, and then after the A, the 4 falls all the way down into the X. So the capital A is like the in-between state of the 4 becoming a 4 that fell down and is now an X with the straight line drawn between the two legs, because it's still the number 4. And then that X covered by Omega. So the top of the X, the ends, the legs, are actually the hands coming up, covered by Omega, his hands and his housing. And then the feet that are now open at the bottom of Omega, but again, the X feet are her grounded feet. The X and the O, of course, is hugs and kisses as well, and X marks the spot. The unknown inside the known. And circle is also the shape represented in alchemy of the feminine. I was getting the portal fused, now able to open to all without losing yourself. the Christ of CH, which it means horsepower, and RIST, which means the cross in the road. So here we have the horsepower, which is 144 turns of the water wheel pulled by horses, and the fire horse coming in on the 17th, which is also an eclipse, and there's also a conjunction that day, I believe, and it's also the first day of Ramadan, so it's a really big energy on the 17th. The 144 horses, fire horse is coming in, and then the plus sign and the O, which together then is the O with the plus sign inside of it instead of the X, which then is it's like the lock that needs to be open, and then you turn that plus sign inside the circle an eighth, and it becomes the X inside the circle and opening the lock. The rolling stone, so phi A, so phi A. So that's coming up as Sophia. The bending of the 4 from the plus sign to become the X. Sophia has to do the bending. And then it was 1221, the turn of the wheel, which I wrote down that my daughter had just come out of the room, and I told you she's 46 soul number, so that may be significant here. And it was 1221, which are both Pisces energy, the hanging man and the world. The turn of the wheel that's open when the sun sets and rises. So sunrise and sunset are coming up as important here. Putting on the pressure to grow and shift from the plus sign 4 to the capital A, bent 4, into the X, marks the spot, as Jenna just texted me. That's so funny. To open the doors of the circle to become the Omega sign with the X inside of it, which then represents the middle of the 8 of infinity. Okay? And then here, so I've drawn, just sketches at the top too, so you understand what I'm talking about. So here's the energy I was just talking about. We have, this isn't just an asterisk to highlight something here, because it was also coming up as the star energy coming together of the plus and the X. And then again, here's my pin that I was talking about as well. And the feet were coming up here too as like the top hands of the mouse were coming up as Atlas, and then the feet of Hercules, which is her harvest, right? Her grounded harvest. And then the 1,000 suns were coming up here too with the double entrance airlock of this symbol, and the bow, which is also the bow. So the bow and arrow is coming up here because when you take the Christ of CH and wrist, which is the 144 and the plus sign, and remember that every line is just an arc between 2 points, so a straight line really isn't, it's more of the parentheses kind of energy, right? So it comes up as the circle pi, so circle the line down the middle, and then in 144, the 4 part is the arrow coming through the circle. So it's this energy that makes the heart, because when the arrow goes through the circle, you have an indent on one end and then the point on the other end, which makes the heart on its side, and a plus sign in the middle still. So just trying to keep you up with the visuals here. So we have the bow and arrow, and they're the double airlock. And then if you think about the arrow, you pull back to seal the vacuum, right? The stretching it back so that you can propel forward and create momentum. Pulling back to seal or create the vacuum. And then notice the OW is standing out to me in the bow and arrow, which is the O of the human embodiment of source, and the W, which is 2 U's or double U. So we have the bow and the arrow. B is the feminine, 2, or just to be, the stillness of ow, O-W, and then the arrow is the A-R-O, which then comes up as the masculine, owing something, which is very interesting the way that came up. And the symbol I showed you with the horseshoe in the middle of the 8 or infinity symbol was coming up as O over and under X. And just remember that because that came up in one of the messages that will be coming up. And again, the horseshoe is representing the housing, just like my pin, the top of the pin was representing housing. Same type of energy. But the horseshoe is now the circle opened. So the bow, and notice when you draw the W like this as well, there's an X in the middle with the slashes in both directions, right? So forward and back slashes. But also for bow, you have box in there, and just highlighting the X, and then AOX, which one of the meanings is oxidant and absorbable, organ, apelides, and an alternative oxidase all came up for that. But the bow with box, and when you think of box, you think of squares, but the round box was coming up here. Don't forget about the round box. And then the wood forest also came up there. And the knot. So the trip that Robert Edward Grant is having is to untie the king's knot, which is supposed to be between the third eye and the crown. So you'll hear me talking about the knot as well. And if you take apart the word knot, you have K, and then the N becomes 1/1. So it's KI, which is key or the earth, backslash, and then 10T or IOT. So 10T is tent, right? Key, and then backslash tent. But IOT also can represent iodine or iodine deficient. And it was also coming up, Morse code was coming up. Let's see here. So the driver's seat, I'm not going to finish all of these thoughts because I'm giving you pieces of the puzzle that will come together, but we'll get to that. The bushing of a wheel came in under box 2. This cylindrical lining to reduce friction and wear inside the hole. The casing for a shaft, pin again, or hinge coming up. Something that can, right, bring two sides together or open and close. The driver's seat in horse-drawn coach. Ellipsis of a horse box, which is a container that transport horses, as we have the fire horse coming in. And box also can mean a television, right? To enclose an image with text in a box, to enter the pit, evergreen shrubs, boxwood trees that bows and arrows are made from, or to box, hit someone, or loudspeaker, or a stall for horse, a garage, a lockup, a pit, a playpen. So the 0 with the X in it is the point where two arcs also come together, or two cones, as we were talking about ocean eddies, or two eyes, as eyes are also cones, as two eyes come together. And the blurring of the eyes, which then comes together at the third eye, causing a spin. The knot, or KI/IOT, where key escapes iodine and or tent. The bow, which, I need to show you the picture, right? So we have the bow here as opposed to a knot, which will come up again from yesterday's read. It kept being a theme throughout all of these messages. So the bow and arrow or direction, lead or needle, and how to tie in a bow inside out, through and through, where the knot is inside out times 2. So the king's knot, I did a post on the king. No, I did not do a post on the king's knot. The king's knot, and I think this is what I was going to post, but you can see what I wrote, okay? So I don't have to go through the details of that. And to the king's chambers we go. The sudden 10 of Cups, with keys of patient angel on the road to the castle of the sun, needing to set boundaries daily and be patient with lover's romance, and the Emperor reversed. And the Emperor reversed can be someone who's abusing their power, but it also could be someone who's stepping down from power, or someone who's not well, a grandparent or something like that. As the underlying energy is being under the radar, the 6 of Wands reversed and the Queen of Swords upright, clearly satisfied getting their wish, or the wounded warrior surrendering to align as the Knight of Cups upright, offering love to the Devil's right-hand lady, perhaps impatient or waving but losing patience with pain in the ass, perhaps, and pain in the ass, as is another word for axle and axis, or Capricorn giving a massage to the Page of Wands and the Queen of Wands. We have Capricorn upright and Sagittarius reversed. And when Sagittarius reversed, it can be a negative connotation, but it also can just represent that it's not your sun sign or rising sign, that it may be another sign in your chart. So we have Capricorn upright and Sagittarius reversed, excited to help recover the Emperor reversed, who may not be well or abusing his power or retiring under the radar. The union with the sun coming up both ways as SUN and SON, and or proposal of union, excited to go home with, or to the Emperor, the birth of the sun, again both, and romance of lover, and or at the crossroads and needing to be true to oneself. Scorpio, Sagittarius, Cancer, and Aries all came up there. The underlying energy of the 16 and the heart after the 27 ethereal touch, 41 knowing without knowing, the 65 of the King of Pentacles, and the breaking. The 27 is the Ace of Wands, the 41 is the Ace of Cups, and they came up again in this message from last night into today, where they were both reversed today. So the Ace of Wands and the Ace of Cups of the ethereal touch and knowing without knowing, with the 65 of the King of Pentacles and the breaking of him. It's like the masculine collapses onto the feminine who's arching up in the Journey of Love cards. And then the 55 of the Ace of Swords and acceptance. So you have 3 aces right there, and the Tower and the King of Pentacles. Perhaps tickled by Mary Magdalene and the Holy Grail, the King of Pentacles and the breaking, she arches, he collapses, the truth of the fairy tale and acceptance in the heart of the moment. The King of Pentacles sword and the Tower, or Tor, like Glastonbury Tor. The first card out here with this deck is the 2, within nothing there is everything. The 58 of the 4 of Swords and Beauty, but Sleeping Beauty was coming up for me. The Tower of Sleeping Beauty and the High Priestess or Higher Self in their 5D connection. The Heart and the Womb. The High Priestess sleeping. And the 32, which is the 6 of Wands, leading the way in devotion to the small. The 57 of the 3 of Swords and the Lovers, keeping it simple. And that can be in a separation or in forgiveness and apology, so it can go both ways. The 66 of the Queen of Pentacles coming together in the chambers of the heart. The 11 of Justice and alignment, truth and balance. The Justice of eruption of light here, of the King of Pentacles and the Queen of Pentacles. And the 45 of the hidden beauty in the 5 of Cups there, which is some kind of sadness or grief or regret, some kind of disappointment. Of the 36, Atlas, or the hard work of that, and the cosmic butterfly in transformation. The divine feminine perhaps feeling the sadness of Atlas, the 10 of Wands, and coming together in the heart space. So you may be feeling your twin if you're a twin out there. So you don't have to be a twin to get a message from this. There's a lot here. The underlying energy is at 304. Again, the Empress and the Emperor here. And the Spirit of the River, after the 18 of Eyes of the Eagle, the 35 of Lost Compass, and the 11 of the Deep Quiet, 54 of the Crossing. The New Moon Eye, or Cancer Eagle Eye, to discern, and then CERN came up. The Wounded Warrior having lost their way and getting back to integrity. And the clock on this card was 11 to 11. Instead of 11:11, it's 11 to 11, in the deep quiet of 11 of meditation and stillness. the crossing of the X, or 10, the clock with the directions, but they're faded in some parts. So the 12 actually looks like an 11, and the west is the two V's of the co-creators, and then south, of course, is the S, but the E is kind of washed out. Perhaps I questioned whether the moon was in Libra, with Libra Page of Swords crossing into their initiation to the 10 of Cups, which is emotional fulfillment or that happy family, the spirit river of adventure at 311, which is the Empress, and Justice. So perhaps the Empress is Justice, but this can also be Taurus and Libra, where the first card comes out as the 57, which again could be a separation, and the unmarked trail, the 32 of the the 6 of Wands, and the jeweled web. By the way, jeweled is I, child, web, and the 25 of the Knight of Wands in the Garden of Venus, and the 30 of the 4 of Wands and the Horseman, where the Horseman comes home as the fire horse comes in on February 17th. The 28 of the 2 of Wands, or twin flames, and the hollowed bone, or again, hollowing yourself in order to make space. The 41 of the Ace of Cups and the Moon Maiden, the 39 and the Knight of Cups of the Me-Tox, or a day for yourself to detox. The 14 of the Temperance card and the Drifter, the 33 of the 7 of Wands card, standing up for yourself. That's also the Christ vibration there. The Joyful Muse, and the 53 of the Knight of Swords and the Stranger. Under pressure of separation, connecting to the inner child under the radar as the Knight of Wands in the Garden of Venus, with rest and renewal before union, with Herald of Change, with Aries and the Fire Horse coming. And notice that Aries is also the same letters as Arise. At 316 is the union at 28, or the 2 of Wands, the twin flame, or the hollow, again referencing the valley between the two mountains of 28 and 30 of the twin flames and the union, and the offer of love to the Moon Maiden 41 by the Knight of Cups 39 in Me-Tox, patiently drifting down the channel, or drifting to channel. And that can also represent a river or a moat, as the 7 of Wands is standing up for their joyful muse, and the Knight of Swords stranger with curiosity who may be amused. The Knight of Wands and Knight of Cups and Knight of Swords are all here. And they were coming up as Sleeping Beauty, the Patient Angel, and then the last one coming up as Seal, whether it's the animal seal or the singer seal. Take it the way it comes to you. Then at 321, which is the Empress and the World, it's also 321. The horses are lining up at the gates. And there's a lot of Sagittarius right there. And again, horses. Underlying energy next of 14 and boundaries, the key to the path after the 28 karma, or twins karma, the 13 of air, 26 pink, 29 family, and 9 of action. The double diamond, untying the knots. The twin flame transition to fly free as two houses fuse. The Page of Wands in the pink in the 2026/1, the year of the womb. I don't know if I wrote Scotland there or something else there. I was getting the scalloped womb, which is a reference to Mary Magdalene. The year of the womb. The life bulb, or the uterus, the womb, to the light bulb, right, of the third eye. The 9 of Cups, satisfaction of self. And the mother's womb to father's son, an air of pink in the family, as the Hermit or Virgo takes action, perhaps a run on the beach as movement is needed here. So set boundaries daily, the key to a smooth path. The next first card is the 40 of the Page of Cups, and evolution birthing the new, where the Page of Cups aligns to listen and take note. Something unforgettable here. As climbing the walls, baby alerted in the womb. So sounds like someone's about to give birth and they're climbing the walls. It's time to come out and face the world. And that can be a literal pregnancy or birthing something else, forging a new path to the sun. As the 52 Queen of Swords priorities, a rainbow center and wings to fly, the 4 of letting go and time for release. And again, the 4 referencing the crossroads, and the 42 of the 2 of Cups and 1-1, going with the flow. The Page of Cups, Queen of Swords, and 1-1, and that could be a mother and child energy as well. The 10 of the Wheel of Fortune, and that high vibe of 1010, a new dawn, and partners destined to arrive at the sun. And the Salt River and Death Valley were coming up with that as well. So all this energy of the between state, in between the mountains, the flats, right? The Salt River then takes us back to Mesopotamia with the salt marshes. The underlying energy of the 18 lovers after the 9 of the eagle, 32 transformation, 7. What did I write? I'll give it to you in the explanation, but I can't read my writing there. What card that was? 7. And then the 27 of rings, the 30 of the sun and flowers, and the 4 of birth. The hermit eagle soars over the Spanish mountains. Doesn't have to be the Spanish mountains, but they were coming up. To break the chains. A journey in the chariot or travel. Exciting new proposal. To link in with the sun. The union with the flowers or flowers. Those who go with the flow. So it could be a group, of spiritual people. And the birth of the lovers at the crossroads of the moon. And April 18th was coming up right there. And then at 5:55, let's see something. It was interesting because I note everything when I'm doing my messages and reads, but my little Pisces had come out at 12:21, and then I noted at 5:55, walks out the door. And 5:55 is an energy of lots of change. The first card of this deck is the 2 of the angel, the 5 of celebrations, the 23 of the owl, the 6 of the chariot. And instead of 8, like 9 to 5, it was coming up as 18 to 5. The 25, which if you put 2 and 5 together in their squared form, it makes the magic potion. The angel spreading their wings to release her light out of the box, her gifts of change and freedom. As the King of Wands and the King of Wands owl, or the wise one, is drawn in to see more. We have Cancer, Pisces, Virgo energy, and Taurus right there. The lover's chariot to follow. And Taurus opened angel's gift. And there's Pisces and Virgo energy there both. Cinderella's chariot all lit up. Okay, so here's this energy of a Cinderella story. At 6:03, which is the lovers and the mother, and again, Mother Earth, the Emperor reversed here after passionate news from the past and justice here, upright. The true love's path is never clear. With the Page of Swords reversed, Ace of Cups upright, and the 5 of Wands upright. Libra, Page of Swords reversed, on a quest. Now love has been offered, or a competition of which team can give more. A group offering, love to the past, and gold coin to the King of Cups reversed, who may be hanging out. And he's the King of Cups reversed is the underlying energy of this read. And this read is from the 21st. The gold coin to the King of Cups reversed, hanging out, being still to see a new way for inequity to become a positive, assessing worth. before implementing a new plan or path, or premature. So it could be a premature delivery. Or the Page of Cups reversed, a new baby. Of the Ten of Pentacles, perhaps an invite, someone feeling not invited. And it was the 21st, and I actually got an invitation that day for a kid's party, so it could just be something as simple as that. Released to the Two of Cups upright, or no longer anxious about meeting face to face to confess a need for peace with the King of Wands reversed. Offering little, and the Knight of Wands reversed, tired of not enough. Or both players and bored, grounding and integrating the fire energy from Aries here with issues at work as the truth comes out, a presentation or performance, assessment of work on the job, and someone sad lacking tools or confidence to bridge the happy family with the Queen of Pentacles reversed, which she comes up again here in the center of the read as a clarifier. Not coming together, stressed out, or disappointed they can't come to the Four of Wands house party or celebration, to slow down in the sun or take a vacation or turn of events, fully exposed post-war, or dealing with post-war trauma types of energy or PTSD, with the High Priestess upright, laying it all out there for the King of Swords reversed, who's coming clean with or about lovers, or the Divine Feminine's dream come true, the sun and the stars, and the sun in Aquarius. Remember, and Aquarius breaks down to Aquarius, which means the emotion of laughter. The bird taking off to the stars, but falls out of the nest on the first try, defenseless and awake, or rising above the fray, in energetic exchange with the Hermit reversed, who could be out of their mind, or coming out of their isolation. Dark night approaches, the Queen of Cups reversed, at night with the Knight of Swords reversed. And that could be someone trying to bite their tongue, but definitely have some kind of lashing to say. And that could be lying as well, but it could be verbal abuse. Or Scorpio taking the dogs for a walk, or Cancer is, because Scorpio has to go. A wake-up call or announcement of or to the King of Pentacles upright, stuck in a dream, and then taking a walk into that good night at 6:21, the Lovers and the World, or completion. Seen as family, the Queen of Swords, making it clear, or mediation of the Knight of Cups upright and the Knight of Wands reversed, right? The wounded warrior surrendering. Perhaps the Knight of Cups could be an arrogant person there as well, and then the one giving up. Surrendering to align with or as the Knight of Cups upright, who offers love or kindness to the impatient devil who ain't no angel, or two chained, she the devil and he the fallen angel, or Capricorn upright and Saggy in their chart, ending pain or in a painful ending, or with a pain in the ass, the Page of Wands and the Queen of Wands, perhaps shocked to see the Emperor return after they've been kicked out. Or the Queen of Swords clearly getting her wish by surrendering to align with the Knight of Cups upright, perhaps a female Capricorn, chained by the fallen angel, or is surrendering to align with help fixing them, perhaps giving them a massage, or exited the Queen of Wands, perhaps shocked that the Emperor reverse wants her to work on him, right? So that could be someone you had a falling out with, or perhaps an ex. And there were 3 movies that came up that day. It was the one about on Netflix about Elizabeth Smart's kidnapping, but I highlighted Elizabeth Smart, and then 7 Pounds came up, and About Time, those 3 movies. But they were messages coming up here. Elizabeth Smart, 7 Pounds, and About Time. And again, that could be a premature child, or 7 pounds is a normal delivery. So either way, the next first card at 6:30, which is the Lovers and the Four of Wands, or union, is the Six of Cups upright, right? Which is the innocence of the union, or children loving each other. And in this read, the Lovers and the Two of Cups were both upright. The twins, soulmates, babies, and separation, healing the womb. And this could be twins in a womb as well. The Emperor reversed and the Knight of Pentacles reversed, needing strength or courage or good health to come full circle, to meet in innocence and kindness, as the Fool reversed falls for the Nine of Pentacles sovereign or catch, perhaps a daughter who's very committed to their mother, in separation from the Emperor reversed. Perhaps the mother is the establishment there, right? She could be a big matriarch of the family. With Aries reversed, double Aries reversed, Leo reversed, Pisces upright, and Taurus double upright, perhaps the Emperor reversed or Aries, in order to come, must get past a stubborn pet or a scared one. And that can go on both sides, the human scared of the pet or the pet scared of the human. And Pisces or divine feminine making a fool of themselves in front of the Nine of Pentacles sovereign or emperor, who perhaps are married and or very religious or traditional, right? Trying to make a good impression perhaps on someone's parents. Or this could be a female religious leader as well at 636, which is the Lovers, and 10 of Wands, which is Atlas. And just a reminder too, the bug is going around, so some of you could be experiencing the flu or a cold, something like that. So let me see if I have a picture of that. So I just pulled energies of the day. I believe this is the correct one. I was just pulling them randomly. The way you're viewing them may not be the order of piles. I did it in, this is definitely the underlying energy. Yeah, so the King of Swords is the underlying energy there. World travel is coming up here, and giddy up after victory, or the truth of a heart opening of the Page of Cups. Received or experiencing new passion, or a proposal from the Queen of Wands, perhaps giving it up or letting go to all that is. The Divine Masculine in the Bat Cave, the crystal bat cave, hanging out, focusing on their right knee perhaps, left knee bent, seeing another way of Lover's higher self and the King of Swords. The energies of Pisces / Capricorn, Gemini or twin flame energy, and Pisces / Virgo also are coming up here. And Han Elf or Master of Orbs. So like a mini me of Han Solo. Oh, I was just getting that too. The energy of when you have a child who speaks like the adult, like where the adult can be arrogant and very intelligent type of energy, but they're that way because of the experience they are, because they're an adult. But then the child who speaks that way, they don't come from experience, they come from mimicking their parent, and it can come off really obnoxious, even though the parent may be obnoxious to begin with. You understand why they may be that way or where they came from, whereas the child is just, it's very difficult to deal with. But that was coming up in general experiences, but also just came up in the movie I watched last night, where the little girl, she was really cute and curious and bold and brave, but she was also mimicking her mother, who's kind of a little bit crazy and selfish. So I don't know if that's coming up for you, but it might be, so I had to put it out there. The underlying energy here of the Queen of Swords to the King of Swords. She with dreams destined, or with Aquarius and Libra energies, leading the way or under the radar to ground and integrate and take steps to bring heaven onto earth, a higher perspective of the truth, of the Page of Cups innocence and the inspiration of the Queen of Wands, or two kids offering it all up to the Four of Pentacles. Perhaps the Divine Masculine hanging out as lovers with their higher self, the Divine Masculine, Divine Feminine. The Queen of Swords walking like an Egyptian. And Adam Ant was coming up, and Ant in Hopi is Anu, as in Mesopotamia, Anu. the truth of the heart after being an island to oneself. Excalibur comes up here. Notice Excalibur is the X's caliber, right? Their quality of existence type of energy. And new flame with the Queen of Wands crowning themselves with light. He balancing energies and performing and juggling, allowing the universe to decide. And then grounding in the cave to be still my heart, with lover or twin flame, higher self, King of Swords. So you have the King of Swords and Queen of Swords, Page of Cups, Queen of Wands, all here. And also yesterday was the energy of this day. So the 21st was the energy of the Six of Wands and world, the grounding and integrating the steps from the 21st to take on the 22nd from this read, to present the truth of their innocent heart, their sweetheart, to passionate Queen of Wands, taking a minute to take it all in and process, ground, and be still with lover or higher self, or someone of great affection, behind the King of Swords. The next first card is the Chariot. To the Ace of Cups, overflowing with ideas and passing them to the Knight of Wands with a slow burn, and electricity to run with it. To the Hermit in the cave, left out in the cold or behind, the Nine of Wands, wounded warrior, with two presents from their aunts. And again, a new coming up here. The Three of Dance, a Buddha and the Sphinx. Cancer, Saggy, and Taurus, perhaps Virgo, Cancer and Pisces coming up right there. Driven, my love, passing messages, I want to say messenger, but it's I wrote messages, passing messages to the Knight of Wands. Buddhic, driven by Sphinx, High Priestess, to slow the Knight of Wands' roll, using their fire transformed into electricity. In separation with Hermit, weathering the storm, and the wounded warrior's guidance. The Queen of Pentacles with a stiff upper lip, and we have Cancer, Virgo, and Sagittarius right there. The Queen of Pentacles with a stiff upper lip, grieving at night on the dark side of the moon, when the moon wanes, returning to balance, or time to pay or deal with beggars. The Ten of Cups and Four of Wands, family to love, and castle to bridge, the emotional fulfillment of home union or travel to a castle, perhaps for a group ascension. The Genie, spelled G-E-N-E, like your jeans, the Genie with the world in the right hand, or the globe. And you could know a Gene as well, but it's coming up as a masculine energy and completing a cycle there, coming full circle. At 12:52 is the Hanging Man and the Queen of Swords. The let's see. So May was coming up as significant. And then we have the Ace of Swords with the Ace of Wands in the underlying energy, with the Ace of Cups, the second card out. The third group with the Ace of Pentacles, the Two of Wands, and the Knight of Swords. The 10 Ascension, mess, or amis, or 10 amigos, ascend with a sense connection. A breakthrough of twin flames as the Knight of Swords sends a 5D message. Perhaps Libra, King of Cups, passed a download to the Hermit, Queen of Pentacles, to grieve and or get over it, and settle or share with the 10 of Cups and 4 of Wands, or emotional fulfillment of a home and or union or celebration here. Gushing at the castle with Genie in a bottle. Perhaps an offer of time, money, and effort, and a new life to the twin flame, the Knight of Swords sending a message back. And in this read, the Knight of Swords is here and here very significant. Rushing in perhaps could be two Knights of Swords or twin Knights of Swords coming in from both sides at the same time. The King of Wands, Eight of Wands, an energetic exchange with Starseed message, a big download to the crown from out of nowhere. Hiding in the woods underground, the Queen of Wands surrendering in the cave with love, and higher self or high priestess to work on her. The King of Wands to keep busy, perhaps giving ice and keep in the dark. The Six of Cups soulmate with Hermit taking care of them. The Six of Cups transition through the portal. It could be children or soulmates or your own childhood, but there's a transition through the portal of dark night. The shadow, there could be an unnatural death or ending here as well. Perhaps to kick a habit with Aries, Virgo, Scorpio ×2, and Capricorn. The Page of Swords to emerge with that little light of mine. A powerful thing. The lighting or lightning that strikes the tower is spreading to transmute the whole tower. Purging the shadow with help of the Hermit's light. A sudden epiphany or event with the Eight of Swords, Justice, Karma, and the King of Cups. In the woods to release negative thoughts, injustices, karma, and exchange for the King of Cups and unconditional love, and three keys of alchemy, which the three keys is like graduation in Sagittarius, and then the three keys of alchemy are Capricorn, Aquarius, and Pisces. The King of Swords, Knight of Swords, Tower, the King of Cups, and Ascension. Together the Queen of Swords and Queen and King of Swords send a message with sudden pounding from energetic exchange with the King of Wands that brings a ball of ice. And again, that you could have been experiencing sleet as well, or hail, to hide in the dark and bring to light. So again, it's darkest before the dawn, but also in the dark, it's easiest to see when the light comes in. A sudden realization, it is darkest before the dawn, and there's a big change here of Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces, or water signs. Or changing of the guards. The Hermit's light creates a shadow for their light and message to suddenly appear. The Nine of Swords to the Eight of Swords was like a release to the King of Cups, and Blue Eyes was coming up. A Frank Sinatra or Sonata. Someone might be getting serenaded. I Did It My Way, and that was at 222. Room 222 is the guidance counselor show. I did it my way. Again, the energy of the lotus opening. And I was getting with the three keys, Capricorn was coming up as the crown right here, Aquarius as a higher message, and Pisces as multi-dimensional creation. So the underlying energy of the Ace of Pentacles, after strength, alchemy, and abundance. And there are three aces in a row here. The Ace of Swords, Ace of Pentacles, and Ace of Wands. And THY was coming up as Thoth Road. So here Thoth is coming up again. And again, the energy of the bird face or that mask. The strength, this is coming up after Lionsgate through the Ring of Fire. So even though it's not Lionsgate right now, the eclipse on the 17th is also considered a Ring of Fire. To alchemize the pit of desire, the strength of the word why, or said another way, a quest, as in a question, or and again, Frank Sinatra, and coming up, the Impossible Dream was coming up here too, and the crown opening, abundance of A and B, or 1 and 2, the masculine and the feminine in the undance, the one dance. The Tiger and Lioness, the Empress and King of Pentacles, with the Three of Pentacles and Lovers working together. The Chariot driving to the Queen of Pentacles, 10 of Pentacles, and Queen of Cups, for them to be present. So I could be picking up someone as well. Or to gift adult girls the Ten of Pentacles, legacy, perhaps gifting I was getting now disproportionately, but I wrote disappointing. You know, when someone gets a gift and they're disappointed in what they got, that could be coming up. But I was just getting giving a gift disproportionately. So perhaps one child is getting more than the other, or they see it as getting more than the other, or now regret or sadness of the truth, of purpose, and coming out, a diamond in the rough, not ready to be exposed. So again, breaking ground, but perhaps prematurely. Leo, Sagittarius, Taurus, strength and patience of mother's abundance. The King of Pentacles with a small business, perhaps, with affection for travel, with the Queen of Pentacles and the Queen of Cups, which can be women or they can be grown daughters as well here. From the Ten of Pentacles, family, business, or community, or a legacy perhaps, who are waiting for their ship to come in, saddened by the truth that was always just there under the surface, and now breaking ground and brought to the surface to be seen and dealt with. I don't know, I was just getting someone getting lanced as well, like a cyst to be dealt with. Now breaking ground and brought to the surface to be seen and dealt with. A new life, perhaps. And I just, at that moment, I looked up. And I have a picture of myself jumping out of a plane in tandem. And as I looked up, the only reason I noticed it, because the shape of that, my curtains were mimicking it exactly. Where my arms are up like a bird, you know, flying through the air. Two flying together, but in the light and in the shade. Two flying together, looking right at me, soaring through the air with the greatest of ease. Perhaps they feel bad now that truth comes out with a need to make restitution. The next first card is the Ace of Wands with the Queen of Wands, the Wheel and the Page of Swords, offering the Ace of Swords and Ace of Pentacles for the Ace of Wands from the Queen of Wands on fire. Or that could be going to a reader as well, with a destined message, a light to share, or Libra or Sagittarius, message or child, or the Queen of Wands destined to see the light. Two of the Nine of Cups, the Seven of Swords, getting their wish through receiving messages from the clouds to higher self at the new moon, or messages dropped into consciousness during the waning moon. We're building up to the full moon on the 1st. So it'll be waning after the 1st. The Northern Lights with Pisces, doorway to the King of Wands shaman, and Hermit reflecting the Two of Cups, 5D connection. And Four of Pentacles and Seven of Pentacles came up together here. They've come up several times together, which for me and this SIRIAN Starseed deck is the Divine Masculine's heart and the Divine Feminine's heart. So the Four of Pentacles being the Divine Masculine's heart in the Crystal Batcave, and the Seven of Pentacles being the Divine Feminine's heart, the Divine Feminine's heart in the E-Tower. The Divine Masculine's heart, yes. And coming up is Merlin's gate, right? The top of a castle tower is a Merlin. Her gate is like Rapunzel, with karmic opening of the lotus that is stressful, to say the least. So here I was getting, they were showing me that for some spontaneous crown openings now, and this can reference your children as well, it could be a huge headache, and they were referencing the pain to a cervix opening, right, in birth, but of the crown and crowning, birthing the new. But there could be a lot of pain associated with that. And the 4 and 7 coming up is the lock and the key as well. The wounded warrior student, curious Libra, or about justice, truth and balance, and the pain of it. The 10 of Swords and the 10 of Cups, and learning how to end pain, or in a painful end, perhaps a divorce, with the 10 of Cups and the Page of Cups on top of the pyramid, the flyer, the Page of Cups with an open heart and a leap of faith that the King of Cups will catch them with stars in their eyes, or dreams of guidance and being a star, perhaps walking like an Egyptian in lotus position. The child of blue eyes and the Egyptian star, and that could be rock star, or perhaps rock is just a message in itself. But Orion was coming up here with Betelgeuse and Bellatrix. And there's also been some, I know Stefan Burns was just talking about Betelgeuse. We don't know if it's had a supernova yet because it takes so long to get here. But it could have, and it could not happen for 100,000 years is what he was talking about. But you can watch his video on that if you want to. But here, the King of Cups is coming up with the Page of Cups and the child of blue eyes and the Egyptian rock star with guidance for the Knight of Cups in wave, the green room soon, an infinite pool of water, you know, and let's also bring up, you know, when someone's describing the eyes as pools of water, swimming as belly dancer rises above 6 flames, or his reputation as 2 flames, the Knight of Cups and the Knight of Swords, one to swim and transmute, while the other passes 5D messages. The King of Cups and the Page of Cups and the Knight of Cups all here leading the way, and at the Y in the road or juncture sending messages. 4 to 8 of Pentacles, or that could be 4 to 8 p.m., as the Hanging Man, 4 of Wands, 7 of Cups, Moon, and Tower come up here. Working outside the E Tower of the Divine Feminine's heart to align and get crystals in a row, or to be still and see another perspective. Perhaps sitting out front instead of the back of the 4 of Wands home, with steps to the stars and the moon, and suddenly electric that could start a fire. After transmuting pain of the crown, opening and dispersing all through, now passes from the body, and daughter moon was coming up suddenly, like an electric shock, the shadow knocked off the wall and lighting up the sky. And again, the energy of a huge flare. So it can reference the sun's flaring, but I've also gotten some messages about that. And I woke up, I posted the message, I think it was yesterday. I woke up to green lightning coming out from the sun. And it was coming up as a combination of gold and boron. So you can check out my Instagram on that. So the sisters making a shadow on the white porch chair and doesn't know who it is, right? So their shadow is now available for them to see, but they don't know who it is. They don't understand it. At 638, which is the lovers or family, and the 38 of the Queen of Cups. Groundbreaking little light or idea about hiding underground in the dark, while the Page of Swords gets to the top of the rock and tree to send a 5D message lightning fast, Godspeed, delivery, that he has to go down deep in order to get higher, to reach the light or lightning or lightening, to take the fall, the fallen angel, in order to protect the daughter moon. Before the Empress's strength was the human embodiment of Source, the Starseed's crown opening, the Page of Wands indigo of Poseidon, or one of reason, firing up an artificial hand, or tossing arthritis by exuding big love. The frog growing into the prince without a name yet for themselves. They can't identify it. but they know it's happening. The inner struggle of the juggle or not, and juggernaut came up. The Empress tosses a bone of fire. I think that's supposed to be the Emperor, but I wrote Empress, so take it as it comes. The Emperor tosses a bone of fire or of contention to help one grow, creating the inner turmoil. So I think that was supposed to be the Emperor in both places, not the Empress. But your Emperor may be an Empress, so there you go. The creating inner turmoil in order to force their hand, jumping through hoops. Again, the Ring of Fire, birthing through to the alchemist. She, or CHE, my guidance. I want to say counselor. Someone could be dealing with their guidance counselor, perhaps someone they haven't talked to in years. The alchemy of abundance here. The Emperor sends his love through the pain of birthing the crown and the horse and the temple and the power all coming up around that, with patience and balance, transmuting his ego through the inner struggle of the Empress. The indigo seeking fire from the Emperor offers him a crystal or diamond he got from his mother. The Emperor's love shown by triggering frog to prince. So it's coming up, I don't know if the Emperor's dealing with his child, it could be. And it could be a partner as well. But he's showing his love. The Emperor's upright there, and he's showing his love by triggering their child or their partner to become more, to become their better version, right? Patiently birthing along with the Empress. And again, this is referencing to, as the Divine Feminine, you could be starting to feel your masculine more again, because you're literally coming into your power of understanding when it's your turn to transmute some energies or go back and forth. The Pegasus upcoming in a Poseidon adventure, and I was getting striking a pose like Madonna's Vogue. PO siding with advertising the master tree that you are. The Emperor to the Empress, with the King of Pentacles at work, with affection for travel, and the Queen of Pentacles with 10 of Pentacles, family, business, or community, or legacy, to the Queen of Cups, or perhaps passing that as a present. Some of you may be gifting your children to recover from a split and or withhold or truth unfolding here. The Queen of Wands inspired by fire, perhaps Libra to do the small talk. All in play already or coming immediately. All of the aces. All of the aces were in play here or coming immediately. So it's big new beginnings. Obviously energy, that kind of energy coming up. And then it was 808, which is Lionsgate. So the next I have from the 23rd here. And it is 124. And let's see if I have that one. Yeah. So here's the next one. This is the 23rd. Okay, we have the Metatron deck at the top, Lenormand and Kipper decks combined as the second deck, and then Rider Waite, and then the bottom is, that's the one I just showed you. That's the Wisdom Oracle. This one here, Wisdom of the Oracle. And there's a lot of numbers that came up with that, but we're not going to get too much into that. But I did post El Shaddai because that came up as well as Raphael, Magdalene, E to the nth degree, fish. But I mean, some of this I posted stuff around it, so there's information there if you want to check out my shorts. So when I was breaking down El Shaddai, it's very interesting because SHAD means blue fish. And again, there's a reference to the blue rays and Jesus there. And also Shaddai in Mayan means evidence, and Urdu means strong, and in Lithuanian means shads or bluefish. Or shad means wearing shoes, right? Walking in their shoes. And I did post that. So you can check that one out. The silver announcement, silver and gold coming up a lot. Silver announcement or wake-up call of the golden bird with chakras on. And a bird chirped out front right when I wrote that. Let's see here. The Emperor's courtship, an unexpected income or incoming or outdoor public judgment of the Eight of Swords. And that could be some kind of imprisonment or anxiety or a histamine release as the spring comes in. And coming full circle in the family room, the world's place to live, and the King of Cups impoverished fiddler on the roof. A young lad or Oliver as a family with no place to go. The Emperor or Aries inspired by Queen, Copper, or Penny. Trading hands. I was just getting the movie Trading Places. Perhaps paying for a wedding venue outdoors or cleaning out a living space, a room for family as the King of Cups becomes poor. With Aries, Aquarius, and Pisces here. The underlying energy of lovers. And the first card out, the Star. Lover's dream comes true, defenseless too, or an awakening, rising above, unable to sleep. In dealing with something, whether it's a divorce or a break in establishment, or with someone has alternative views from you, an ending of a contract or breaking from your religion. The Knight of Wands reversed, player falling short. And then I was getting, woke up, got out of bed, dragged a comb across my head, and went into a dream. Destined to get their way, if just could stay quiet another day. The silver sword and golden goose kept in check. The Sphinx to make Christ, would you pipe down? As the Queen of Swords, perhaps Libra or Lady Liberty, with the Book of Life, at the at the altar, keeping the angels in check. I was just getting in the dark as well. As silver has its moment before gold comes out, and silver was coming up as silvering, which is mirroring. Silver has its moment before gold comes out, the sword in the stone as S word, which is it, word is it, so it is, and sword, S word, is Sophia's word. And stone is S tone, Sophia's tone, or her word is it, and her tone is shh. Say it soft, and it's almost like praying. Sophia. It's shh or shit. Sophia, shit, Sophia. So at one point they're saying, one is saying, Christ, would you pipe down? And the other one says, shit, Sophia. It's so funny. So then it took me back to the AX Omega of Christ and Sophia. The Christ being the horsepower at the cross and the roads. And then the O as the human embodiment of source, but also represents source. And then Sophia. So phi A is the bent 4, bending to fit into the omega so that it can now open into that infinite 8. The open door policy was coming up, open doors of 3D to 5D. The Knight of Wands reversed may have taken a fall or tumble or broke the camel's back, but it, word, placed, key, him in just the right spot. See spot, run with it, word. The underlying energy of support, one master of healing and patience, stable, accepting, or relationship, that everything happens for a reason, stable, accepting, or acceptance of retreating, because you need time to recharge because somebody else is awakening and you're feeling it. So you may feel like you need more time to rest even though you slept well. Lean on your inner circle. Now you've learned the spiritual lesson. Revisit your childhood wounding, all in divine timing. So there needs to be clearing, whether it's you or them, but you could be feeling it when they're doing it. So you need to help transmute that energy. At 201, the underlying energy of the 4 of higher power, and then the first card of 50 and no place like home, and the 37 of the never-ending story, 46 of regeneration when all the geese were coming, 26 of happy, 23 of peace, and shalom was coming up there, and salam, which is the Arabic version. Hello and goodbye, right? Peace. 2 rows of geese came in formation to 1, flying east. And then the lion came up from the Sumerian dictionary. One of the flourish, the one of flourish, cutting tree, the woodcutter, or the one who prunes trees, or in other words, pruning the family tree. Which that's so weird, I didn't even notice that. This is on the 23rd, and yesterday I have a clementine tree and a lemon tree in the house, which I'm trying to get to survive into the spring so I can put them outside. They're doing very well, actually. But I wasn't sure when I wanted to prune them, and I did last night, so this is coming up, but this was from the 23rd. And the golden goose coming up with the geese coming in. The higher power of the 4 of the crossroads and no place like home or Om, the 50 of the 10 of cups, emotional fulfillment of the 10 of cups and 6 of cups going on and on in 26. Page of Wands sits on a big egg. Happy, happy, becoming the King of Wands in peace. The Emperor's power is the family of the King of Cups and 6 of Cups children. In 26, the Page of Wands becomes the Knight of Wands, or 2 kingdoms come together as one in peace. One number that came up that day was, I think, 6262, which is the 8 of Swords times 2, like imprisonment and then release of that. But the first entry from Gematria was Ding Dong, the witch be dead, the wicked old witch, the wicked witch, and I was coming up there with Hillary Clinton, but let's see. And then the second entry was, it's only a matter of time before the whole world, 10-4, meets the true Queen of America and the universal Sophia. So that was kind of interesting. The Cups family is coming up strong right there. The King of Cups and the 6 of Cups, or twin pages of cups, with the Emperor or God, let no man put us under, with the Page of Wands and the King of Wands, or in Page of Wands is 26 this year, of the King of Wands, the year of the King of Wands, or the fire horse, which King of Wands represents perfectly. And then 222 again, room 222, guidance counselor. The Queen of Swords and King of Cups, the wheel, and the King of Wands and peace. From my French deck, I just pulled a couple cards that day. Turn the page, be open without judgment. Patience is key to success. Take action when guided to, so difficulties will fade away. Show gratitude for what you have in life or in the now. Be patient, take action when guided, and be in gratitude for what is. Your hands are now free. You have the thread and the pearl. Okay. All right, so on the 24th, which now it's 1:34 on the video, this is when I woke up on the 24th to see the green sun. It wasn't yesterday. The green sun and then lightning or electricity pulsing from it towards us. And I pulled a few cards. I don't know if I have that. Oh, by the way, I pulled from this deck. I'm blanking out on what it's called. But there is a twin flame card in this deck. And it never comes up first. And it came up first twice in the past couple weeks. And this is just one of them, just for you to see, okay? But it came up twice. And here, the card that had come up was the Wheel of Fortune, and the SIRIAN STARSEED deck, there's a, or whatever deck it was, there's a Ouroboros in it and the atom. Right? It is this deck. So the Ouroboros was coming up after I'd seen this green lightning coming from the sun, the destined atom, and the Ouroboros. And notice Ouroboros is Oro, which is gold, ro, and then Boro, which is boron. But also what came up was, notice Ouroboros, which is Oumuamua, and Borisov, of the three beings, I guess I'm going to say, who have entered our sphere. And Oro is gold and glowing, and the diamond cards, Oro, and Boros is word, speech, or language, speaking our language perhaps, wine and storing it, wasteful, pine tree, and a drill to make a hole, and again, boring through something. And then Boro is also boron, an egg, a parrotfish, uninvited, which I've said that several times already in the reads, to cut in line, to bore your way through. A hole, a leak, a large, an atom of boron. As I just talked about the atom and the Ouroboros, one of the definitions of boro is atom of boron. So we have gold and boron, which is green gold, which came up, and I posted that as well. And then the three supposed comets that have come into our sphere are Oumuamua, Borisov, and then 3i Atlas, of course, which is probably the one most of you know. But Atlas, ATL, means water. So it was coming through this combination of gold with boron as a stream of water, which I looked up green gold, of course, because I didn't know what they were talking about. And apparently gold soaks up boron and spits it out as borophene. That was from news2rice edu. I think the site was phys.org. But apparently it's the new thing, so you might want to research that. But it was being associated with Oumuamua, Borisov, and Atlas, this green gold energy. Okay, so there's a couple articles online about that, so you can read those. One of them is atoms, gold atoms with boron or boron sulfur doped carbon surfaces, which I find very interesting because I've been bringing up sulfur all year, like the sulfur from underneath Iran and Iraq, etc. So I felt that was very interesting that had come up as well. So when I had first gone into meditation to visit Atlas to see what I saw, if I could see anything or feel anything, it was, a very dark, looks like a dead rock, but then I would see these gold pulsing flashes from a gold ball. The gold, I can't explain to you how enticing it was. Gold, like pure gold. I mean, it was so enticing. I can't explain to you the feeling, but it was this gold ball in the tail that kept pulsing out intermittently gold. So I wasn't seeing gold all the time. It's just these gold pulses. And then I was also seeing, I don't know if it was the first time or the second time I went to visit Atlas, I was seeing an emerald green aura around it when it was at the sun, like it was filling up at the gas station. And here we have the gold and the green of boron coming together. So there's some kind of connection there between the three visitors, or just the sun and this combination of gold and boron that they're now just discovering uses for in quantum things. Yeah, so you might want to check that out. So again, the three were gold, boron, and water from the three visitors. And then let's get to this one. Okay. Metatron. Okay, so again, this is starts with the Metatron deck, and then the Lenormand Kipper, and the same decks, the that Wisdom Oracle I showed you, and Rider-Waite cards down there too. Hopefully you can see that. Okay. And it is 1:41. 1 o'clock. And the underlying energy for these four, they were pulled on the 24th at 4:33, 34, 38, and then 39 to 40. The underlying energies of 29 blue, 37 time and clocks, 19 of the sun reversed, and then 19 of flexible. Two different decks came up 19. And the first cards were 53, codependency and key to freedom. 12, the birdhouse with the 7 of pentacles. 22, the fool. And then 41 was soulmates, and that penguin card that you actually got today in the beginning. One of the numbers came up 1361. I think the first entry in Gematria was 57. Literally the words 57. But the 33rd entry was a miracle in the works. And 31 was miracles will happen. And 32 was songwriter. Let's see here. Empress's justice, eagle's alignment, chaos and magic, control and risk, dark night death, 2 magicians with Atlas's map. That kind of energy was coming up here. Atlantis came up with 361. Penguins came up under 361 as well. And the beast and portal came up under 311. A social urgency, and then 22 under that was Heart of God. So for this message, the underlying energy was the 3 of Wands, King of Cups, Sun reversed and Sun upright with the 19 at 4:57, the Emperor and the 3 of Swords. The gift, the presence of blue, Father Time, King of Cups, Saturn, Poseidon, Neptune. Saturn is Kronos and Poseidon is Neptune. The mature man of the world with time. Madonna present with the King of Cups, and out of control kids, perhaps draining the King of Wands reversed, with issues at work, with starting over due to kids. Perhaps the kids have to come to work with them or something like that, or perhaps they got burned. Perhaps they need a vacation, or someone will never learn. To be sunny and flexible, and bending is not to fall. Or literally kids doing flips all over the place, mimicking those who know what they're doing, like we brought up earlier. Perhaps a gymnast among them here. The first card, the blue inner child, the 21 indigo, looking at star, as one with 3 keys and flame, ascend the stairs to dance in a leadership position, answering the call, a message in a bottle, number 5, and a conch shell. The freedom to open and announce, to speak up and be heard, 8 and 5, equals greased lightning, a gift from the stars. Blue Madonna and mothering, as child has grown into her knowing, into their crown to third eye. The next first card is the 53 of the Knight of Swords with the key to freedom with speech, unlocking the roots of a divided tree of codependency, and number 2 of review and reflection of the high priestess or higher self under the full purple moon or blue moon. Time out needed with 15, and for you to shower with diamond light for clarity. You can imagine that while you're in the shower, and clearing the shadow while going within. February 1st is the snow full moon. And then the underlying energy of the 37, after an outside venue with twin bridges, a marriage perhaps, a gated community or house, the Page of Swords, 13 and 18 child, and 5 of the mature man, the wake up of the Queen of Cups and choice of path with the Empress's abundance and house of judgment and or transition of the Page of Swords or Scorpio and Cancer children of Taurus, older man with 3 keys and time on their hands. First is the group of birds or the bird house and hanging out there with the divine feminine's heart, and a risky passionate letter or group inspired to write to the Page of Cups fun house or 3 faces of Eve. Atlas's burden is getting attention with 2 owls hanging out. The divine feminine's heart is all he wanted. Shadow lovers. 12/15 keeps coming up. I don't know why. I don't know if that's the date, December 15th, or the time, 12/15. Pisces Capricorn energy times 2 here with Gemini twins. The underlying energy of the sun reversed, and the exchange between the Knight of Cups reversed and the workplace with issues, starting over with the King of Wands reversed, drained and need a vacation or sunshine. As the first card out here, the Fool is upright, free, with the sun at his back, or her back. The being impatient to end the pain of a divorce or ending some kind of establishment, a religion, or contract. The Knight of Wands reversed with the Wheel of Fortune falling short or got hurt, destined to keep the golden goose in check, whether that's his own golden goose or another in check, someone who likes to flap their wings or talk a lot. The Empress reversed with the Knight of Wands reversed, or Sagittarius and Taurus both reversed, both times 2, recovering together, present in the moment, a gift, free to review what they've been through, having come out the other end or side, and feeling confident again. The underlying energy of being flexible after chaos and conflict, changing of the guards, 29 to breathe, and 5 of orphaned, defenseless to group with no need for excuse, to be present and just breathe, orphaned and free, and finding flexibility in the sun. The next first card is the 41 of the Holy Grail of soulmates, the 2 of yin, and the 9 of Treasure Island, the card that you got. The 51 of milk and honey, and her bowl or dish or cup or bird feeder, his tortoise shell carrying treasure from another world. Magenta and aqua, or King of Swords, is milk and honey. She has the dishes, the pillar, the stand. He has the ingredients, his island to himself, a treasure. The land of milk and honey, a perfect blend, and a rainbow in the end, the pot of gold. Excuse me. And then the picnic table sheets, like a picnic table table cover. But someone could be making a table cover out of sheets that they really like the pattern of, something like that. Aurora comes up here with 444. The King of Cups with 5. This is coming up under number 412, which is at the crossroads with the masculine and the feminine. That's the one that has Aurora, and then with 444, and then the English gematria down below is 888 and 148, which 148 in gematria is miracle. And then the amount of hits that had was 11280. And Saint Germain came up there too. I think it was the 5th entry with the King of Cups. Well wishes of love and magical self-deliverance to the fox in the hen house. 1-to-1 with direction and the grounding and integrating the details under a magnifying glass. The 2 of the main female are High Priestess and the Queen of Wands Thief, clearing out the family room or living room, now complete, as the King of Cups is impoverished fiddler, destined to separate the wheat from the chaff, as the Page of Pentacles is his new path. The underlying energy of denial to detach with love, to see clearly now, as the next first card is the Twin Flame and the vulnerability. After wait, children, retreat to recharge, awakening to deserve a second chance. There's been interference. Interference means fear, and denial. Divine connection you can be completely open with here. The freedom. It could be a friendship that's leading to more, and that all happens for a reason. There could be addictions or codependencies at play here. Financial challenges affecting the connection. Working less will help strengthen your relationship. Self-care, clear energy, and then try something new. Play hard, laugh, goof off, enjoy each other. You've done the work. It's time to decide. This is a destined partnership, so go slow. Take time to get to know each other. The attraction is mutual. You've learned the spiritual lesson. Revisit childhood wounds. Forging yourself or forgiving yourself. Maybe you're forging yourself. Forgiving yourself or another will help you move forward. If any obstacles of any unhealed wounds that may be blocking forward movement. And that was called for earlier in the read too, to go back and perhaps revisit wounds that you've cleared already from childhood. So at 7:02 p.m. on the 24th, I was guided to open a page. And I opened a page from this book here, The Sacred Science of Ancient Japan, which I ended up buying because of another download that I had. So I haven't read the whole book. I don't read these books. I just go to the pages I'm guided to go. And today I was guided to that book, or that day on the 24th. And it was 7:02, which is the Chariot and the High Priestess. And I opened the page to 1:14 to 15. And it was the page of the Secret 10 Commandments of Japan. So I'm not going to go through this whole thing, but it's very interesting because part of the beginning of the world from this perspective in Japan was that Adam and Eve was actually one individual. And that that none of the 10 Commandments here actually had a moral requirement. I mean, they were similar to the 10 Commandments, but different. The back was supposed to be hidden ones that weren't transferred to the West, I guess. So it was from page 96 was the Kojiki and the Nihon Shoki. Those are the references. The information comes from the ultra-ancient planet that united under a line of world emperors only a few years after Ferdinand Ossendowski published Beasts, Men, and Gods. He described his escape from the Soviet Union through Siberia into Buddhist kingdom of Mongolia and the legends he heard of the king of the world. So they show you the timelines of these scriptures. And in the 7th generation, So what happens is there's a world emperor who travels around. He's got a spaceship, and he's able to travel and make sure that all of the beings of the 5 colors that were just spread off randomly around the world were working according to the 10 Commandments. And the world emperor had their home base basically in Japan that was like separate from the other areas. And I went back to these Japanese books and information because I keep being guided back to the Himiko in Japan, and of course the connection between the volcanoes of Japan and Hawaii. So the 7th generation the world emperors were called Sumera Mikoto, the Japanese islands that were distinct from the rest of the planet, the land of Hidama, or sun sphere, that they wanted you to notice in the book that the only nation that fights under the flag of the rising sun is Japan. Despite other cultures links their own links to the sun, like the seat of Horus and Persian ruler who rises, etc. So many claiming solar symbol that James Churchward claimed it was evident that was evidence of the lost sun empire called Mu. So anyway, connecting them all together. But they talk about the 5 colored societies that were placed on the planet. Broken down in symbols: the center, the unification, the sun, the seed, the masculine principle of yang, the human characteristics, describing it as the son of the sun, since he descended from the sun, and according to Guernon, this is a little of the Vivasvata Manu, the Indian name for the king of the world. And that the world was divided into 16 sections with the 5 colored people, white, blue, red, yellow, black, scattered in no particular pattern. And the red was called Adam Eve. Okay, they only gave the names for 3 of them. The red was called Adam Eve, white was Karato Mamusu, and the blue was Kiambaka or Bacha. And that was page 99. So like I said, I don't want to go through this whole thing, but what I did want to tell you on this page, let's see. The chapter that I opened to was about the history, like I said. If there was no male heir from these community kings, then a world empress would marry a man pure of heart called Yosa Chio. So he marries a woman pure of heart, but if they don't have a male heir, then this is what they do. But it's always they marry, they're off-planet people marrying humans with a pure heart. The king of the world, or the Guinan, G-U-E with an accent going forward, N-O-N, as sufficient witnesses from all traditions to conclude that there is a holy land, a spiritual center, a land of saints, of the blessed, or of the living, and immortality. These lands are now inaccessible despite Japan being there, which then opens an age, it reopens when the age of material power ends. So again, this transition. And again, I keep getting guided back to Japan because I keep being told that there's something much more ancient than Mesopotamia and Japan, that there's something very old that we're not seeing, obviously land that may rise up or be uncovered at some point. Many cataclysms in the documents here. Two whole continents called Miyoi, M-I-Y-O-I, and Tamiara in the Pacific Ocean that sank, that parallel to Mu, Atlantis, and Lemuria. The 5 colors couldn't maintain the high levels of consciousness, and thus Atlantis happened. One group segregated from the universal role of Sumera Mikoto was the Fertile Crescent, who out of love for their former leaders named themselves the Sumerians. The program of heart and spirit ended, where logic and physical sciences then took over. The next step will be to combine the values of ultra-ancient civilization with modern civilization. The original documents didn't survive World War II, but fragments were preserved in the journals of General Yutaro Yano, 1881 to 1938, a Christian Kiku Yamane, 1893 to 1965, book A Light from the East, 1938. Most notable teacher was Jesus, they said, who visited Japan in their teens via India. That Jesus' real name was Jesuchri, Jesuchri, and his last name was Christmas. Jesuchri Christmas. Notice Jesu and then Chri, like Christ, and then Christmas. Continued to Koso Kotai Jingu, a head priest who saw his abilities there, subjected him to what Wado Kosaka calls ninja training, that he had learned 20 of the 50 divine arts of ninja training. Jesus' brother, Isukiri, they said, met with disciples and agreed to die in his place, so that it was the brother handed over to the Romans, not Jesus. And again, this is their story. Jesus returned to Japan to study with 14 new disciples from around the world, from Japan, a new Italian, German, Native American, Australian, Jewish, Roman, and African ancestry were all part of this group. He traveled and taught peace and love and died December 25th, 82 CE at 118 years old, which is the amount Jews always put 18 in their gifts. They usually give gifts of 118 because it's a reference to Kai. And apparently, they're saying he's buried in Japan, that his tomb was rediscovered in 1934 and can still be visited today in Herai village in Aomori. So it's Herai village, if you're interested in researching that more. And notice that that day they said he died adds up to 47. We talked about the 4 and 7 of the Divine Mouse and Divine Feminine's hearts. So 2 dear ones, veiled person in black and their shadow. After teachers' resolutions and emotions of killer jellyfish came up here. And it was interesting because I told you I just watched 7 Pounds, which had that killer jellyfish that he killed himself with. And this is from the decks Nirvana and the Good Tarot. Let's see if I have them. This was also this was in the book. This is supposed to be a piece that Jesus had made of his parents, merging them together. Let's see if I can find this one. So I posted Lemuria. That's one of my shorts. And then 144. And that's not till recently. All right. So I don't have a picture of this, but it's from the Nirvana deck and the Good Tarot. And modern, the word modern was coming up as significant here. The Fortune's Wheel and a hole made through the tip. The Knight of Cups reversed led this read after the Queen of Swords and 6 of Wands gave attention to her. The Ship in the Air, the 9 of Cups and 10 of Pentacles, both upright here. Emotional treasures and earthly delights. The Hierophant, 6 of Pentacles, sharing the 9 of Swords and 3 of Cups in a stressful gathering of temptation, of the King of Swords, Thoth-like mask, with Justice of 11 or Libra upright here, and the inner form of growing the 5 of Swords to the 10 of Wands, burning papers and notes, leaving the Knight of Cups reversed out in the cold, perhaps with the seahorse, or the seahorse is Pegasus, with the Fortune upright coming up. Here's the next card. The destined Libra or Sagittarius, and the conflict of the 3 of Swords separation with the Knight of Wands, which is also coming up as the red lineage here. And then I was getting, well, here, what's the rest of the story? The Knight of Wands, 5 of Cups, grieving the 4 of Pentacles and the Lion's strength. The Ace of Cups, seahorse with a pearl. In the Tower of the 2 of Swords, the Empress and Hanging Man, with the patience of the world, or for completion. The Knight of Swords wake-up call, tooting their own horn as the Queen of Pentacles wears antlers. And that could be a Virgo energy there, with the 7 of Swords, one of the quote-unquote birds, but not a goose, as the King of Pentacles star is ending pain with sun, exposing all and walking away as his ship comes in to pick up his treasure. Grounding and integrating orbs and Pegasus's truth, the seahorse, the Queen of Wands and King of Wands, and again this comes up as a Japanese or Asian man, the King of Wands, the Sun King, an energetic exchange with the Panda Bear and the 4 of Wands, the celebration of lights, and the 10 of Cups Buddha, laughing Buddha, and the Page of Wands of Himiko coming up here, 26, with many loves and growing trees from the cello in this card, and it was coming up as the cell of the human, growing many trees from the human, working to align music for the Page of Swords' gift as lovers come in, the 2 of Cups goldfish, and the King of Cups or Poseidon, the 3 of Pentacles working with the 6 of Cups innocent ones, making an offering to the Earth 9 of Pentacles, sovereign, perhaps a catch, in the Chariot, the Sovereign's Chariot, the 2 of Pentacles, balancing act or performing something of peace, with the Page of Cups, 9 of Wands, and Queen of Swords, and 2 High Priestesses, or the 2 of the High Priestess who knows. The 2 of Wands comes up here, of she and the giraffe, in the transformation of the Fool at 0, who leaps with an announcement of 0 point at the Divine Feminine's heart. It's like making a discovery. Now I know where it is to find it. The Leo full moon, which is the first, comes up here. Cancer with the Man in the Moon, and the Page of Pentacles, which is number 68, and the 7 of Wands unicorn posing on a rock amidst fireflies for the Knight of Pentacles. It's like someone's showing off or, posing, presenting themselves, but there's a magician in a dark robe who looks like Santa, but not in a good way. And then the 4 of the Emperor who has a lion head, who's watching. The Ace of Wands, with the Ace of Wands and the Lantern, with new passion to sleep and rest and release their anxieties or their feathers, perhaps, or perhaps drop them and they're out of reach. And that's bringing me up the movie Beyond the Universe, where he goes up to hike by himself, and he's got a love, and he's on the mountain, and he's scaling the mountain, and he has her picture with him, and he drops the picture and he scales down a little bit to get the picture, and then it breaks. But that's the message I was getting here, where the feathers dropped and then they were out of reach. And like feeling it, and I'm getting big chills, because in the movie she felt that. So what goes around comes around was coming up big as well. I'm going to do this read. And then on the 25th was Sunday. And the number for Sunday was 36, which is the 10 of Wands, which is Atlas. And also the Knight of Wands was coming up with that. So it's like the fire horse coming in on the 17th with a heavy load to carry, or who's able to handle the heavy lifting. And then that day, the 25th, is when in those cards I showed you with the twin flame card, it came up first again. 12, 12, 12 seems to be significant. That's the year of 2028. And it's interesting. I was listening to someone talking about the change from Pisces to Aries for Neptune, and someone had brought up the Sabian symbols for the 30th degree of Pisces, or the 29th degree or 30th degree of Pisces, and then the 1st degree of Aries, which the 30th degree was a majestic rock formation resembling a face is idealized by a boy who takes it as his ideal of greatness, and he grows up and begins to look like that, right? Because that's what he believes in. And then the 1st degree of Aries was a woman has risen out of the ocean, a seal is embracing her. And you can reference the seal as the collective unconscious, but I was also getting, from looking up seal later, because it came up, the seal is an animal of both land and sea, not just one or the other. Right? The Atlas energy of the boy of stone and rock, and the woman that burst from the sea as Hercules or Heracles, which is the keys of Hera, or her harvest, or Hercules, not clueless, but cueless. The woman that burst, the boy of rock, right, or stone, or the mountain, and the woman that burst from the sea, embraced by the seal, C''L, and Aries to engage, as mountain means mountain, which is the people's remembrance of furthest back, the primordial sea from which they came, arrived to see the mountain of greatness he has become. So the chosen ones have come up in a couple different ways, because in the movie I had watched, I forget what it's called. Oh, it's called Knowing. And it's a movie, if you haven't watched, it's not a new movie, but I don't think I had seen it before. I might have. But it's about the end of the world, and like the Adam and Eve that are chosen not by the earthlings, but by the visitors to start the new world over, knowing that this is going to happen. And it was so weird, because right at the end of watching that movie, and it was on Prime, so I paid the $3.99 to rent it. Right after it was over, Prime automatically started another movie, which was The Chosen, the series about Jesus. But I didn't choose it; it just went on. So that was pretty cool. And the city Magdala was coming up as significant too, because it means to carry. And that day on the 25th, I looked up words, literally 5 different things that meant to carry, because I was going into the Sumerian dictionary, etc. And then Lil, which also referenced Lilith. And in the movie The Chosen, which I'd seen before, so I wasn't really watching it, but it was on, so I had watched some of it. And Lil, they reminded me, Lilith was the name of the woman who had demon spells and then would become a sweet girl. So Lil also means carry. Oh, excuse me. I think GA, yeah, GA means carry in Sumerian. And Lil normally is referenced to Enlil, because Lil means fool, ghost, or to be ill. And IL also means to carry. It was also interesting in the movie because they were trying to decode some letters, and there was coding that they thought was 33, but it wasn't. It was squared, like 2 E's backward. And they talk about that meaning everyone else, or everyone and everything. So that was interesting too, because 33 is the Christ vibration. And I talk about EE a lot because that, for me, that means energy exchange. And I don't even think about that, but that's my first 2 initials too. But that's not why I call it EE. So on the 26th, I titled the page, Neptune to Aries, A New Dawn. And this is when I broke down Robert Edward Grant's name to see what the message was going to be. And out of doing that, 4 of my posts had come up, bringing them together. One was the post about the head of Japan and the butt of Hawaii. I said that basically what was going on in the Hawaiian Islands with the eruptions had to do with the healing of 80 years of Hiroshima, or Hiroshima, however you pronounce it. I'm not sure what the correct one is. But I posted about that this was the healing of 80 years. And now it's like, you know, it's like passing gas in Hawaii, right? The end of this, it's like transmuting the energy. The second one was something I posted, which was a love letter from Anu to Ninhursag, not as a love partner, but as a child. And I don't know offhand right the second, but I think the end of the love letter had said he promised to come back as lava in support of her. And we also saw the lava mountain in the first cards, right? Triggering new growth in the worst of circumstances. And the next thing I had posted was the map. I had done a doodle of how the continents might come together, right? If they'd all broken apart initially. So I was just looking at a map and piecing them together just real roughly. And it ended up looking like a map of Lieutenant Dan from Forrest Gump and SpongeBob SquarePants buddy Patrick. So both of their best friends holding hands across the world. So that came up. And then when I woke up to the continent of Mirfa, which I'm not sure what the spelling is, but I was getting, it's pronounced M-E-E-R, like Mirfa, but it was spelled M-E-R-F-A, which MERS, besides Mars, also the sea, and F-A references the heart as well, and the note of F, or C4, right, coming up from C, D, E, F, the heart. C, Father, C, F, note, also means carried forward, center field, and co-finality. So and they all came up, but I didn't write those down until after I'd done this next stuff and breaking down Robert Edward Grant's name. And if you see Robert Edward Grant, you'll see that there's R-O, R-T, R-D, and R-A. So I looked up these R's to see if there was any connection to these symbols. And R-O comes up as reverse osmosis versus R-A as Ray or Ra. But something did come up in the differences between Ro, Ray, Re, and RC. So I looked them up, and RO was registered operational auditor. RA is chartered accountant in a Dutch registry. So they were defining the differences in these things. And then RE was register IT auditor, and then RC was register controller, or supervises financial reports or operation. So RO to RA was coming up as a general overview projected out to individuals, like a ray. And for me, the capital letter R means open house. It's one of my definitions. And this is coming up as the open house of Omega back to Alpha. Or in other words, now that we've gone from Alpha to Omega, now we're going back to Alpha again. And that could be the open door of the horseshoe, and the open door policy between the head and butt, ass or tail, to allow all alpha rays to report back to Omega directly. And Omega is the shoe of the horse, right? Or Mr. Ed, the talking head, to be, and for you to be in the talking head's shoes. And of course, Robert Grant is very much a talking head, right? He's a super intelligent person. So the open house Omega bell or to be root of Ed's ward or Wa road, and Wa is Japan. It's also water and circle coming from Japan. Little t's leap or alpha ray back and forth to source t. And then in Wikipedia came up the first in Japanese, the first written record of a road in Japan was the year 720. So here again, the 72 comes up, 72 by 72, when the Yamanobe Road was written about in the Nihon Shoki, which came up from the book that I pulled up. And they're totally separate references. So talking about Japanese roads. So the route or route, spelled two different ways, R-O-U-T and R-O-O-T, the waterway between source and the Ra or road or land, the tail end. And then Hawaii came up, being the tail end of Japan. And then, Robert, of course, is Bob, and SpongeBob came up with that. And it's Bob and Ed and Ant. And Ant is in Hopi, the Anu. So we have SpongeBob, Ed, and Anu as SpongeBob SquarePants. His best friend is Patrick Starfish, or JC. And Matthias was coming up with that because he's very much, resemblance of JC. And then Ascends Talking Head, the Wa Road, Japan, Circle Water, the Path of the Rising Sun. And Anu comes up with Forest Friend and the lava that came up from the volcano. Lieutenant Dan is an amputee. And instead of amputee, I was getting ant, UT. So again, Anu and UT, which means dawn. Right, the dawning of Anu. And then the lava. And we're having huge lava in Hawaii right now. So SpongeBob, friend to Patrick Starfish, and Anu, or forest friend, as ant friend, Lieutenant Dan, and then the Dan tribe was coming up, and Mary Magdalene. Bob and forest friends, or Anunnaki, is the ant friends. That's what it means in Hopi. Again, Lieutenant Dan as Mary Magdalene in the Dan tribe, and the starfish JC from the Jacob tribe, which I'd also ended up back at Jacob from Kopel, which my father's original name was Kapelovich, which means son of Kopel, and Jacob means Kopel. So it was very interesting because I kind of backpedaled, having no idea where I was going, and I ended up at Jacob. So that was very interesting. And just as a reference, my grandfather, Kapelovich, which was my father's name, wasn't my biological grandfather, which we didn't find out till later in life. So all of that's very interesting. So Mu and Lemuria were also coming up again here with Murpha, the land of Murpha. And Murpha can also be broken down to sea father, or Poseidon, Ea, and masculine and forms, names. I was just trying to read something. But Lemuria also comes up as El, and then Emer means O with a long O symbol above it. So it literally comes up as El, O, and then Ea, referencing Enlil and Ea, and source between. And again, the light and dark of everything, that is all source. Going back to the source. And then lemurs came up too, and I posted on that, so you can read my Lemuria post if you'd like to. Oh, here it is, Emu in Lemuria of lemur. Emu is an electromagnetic unit between L and R, left and right. And I was breaking down continent too. The hostage of the giant humanoid talking tree, continent. And notice a continent is just a big island, right? So the continent of Murpha, notice Murpha is, Mur is C, which can reference the letter C, and then Fa is the note F. So CF also means cantus firmus, which means fixed chant, Murpha. The continent of fixed chant. Californium came up too, and then I was getting California, not Californication, but Californicate. And then Cali for Nika, which means here. And then TE, which is the moral man. The funny roadhouse at the crossroads of here, the feminine here, and now, which came up as 98 degrees, because the atomic number of Californium is 98. Co-finality, see father, center field, and carried forward. So there's the carry again, definition. And with continent also came up the leap on tree in mastering T, which is again takes us back to this, to source energy. C on T in Lord Master T, the leap on tree in mastering T. And I think it was even today, in the T, or of the tree being in gratitude of the Y, which is its branches, right? That which grows underneath his canopy. So then we get to the 26th. It's 2:27 on the clock. And Emu is also a giant Rhea, R-H-E-A. And so again, Hercules and Heracles specifically came up, Hera's keys, with Rhea. And 12-12-12 was written down there too, because I was reviewing. But there may be an association with that. These sisters. When I got up to go to the bathroom, and the chain came up, and there was this energy about how important it is for us to share our downloads. And what I've noticed in sharing with others, especially if I'm talking with another twin flame energy, it's just like an automatic exchange of downloads, which you may not experience with someone who's not experiencing that. So it's very important to want to share the downloads, not hoard them, because I have to let Sister in. Sister's been hanging out inside the house a lot. It's very cold outside, and she's at the front door and wants to come in, and there's definitely a message there. So let me just go let her in. I'll come right back. All right, let me let Sister in. Come on in, Sister. Come on, honey. All right. There we go. Okay. Sorry about that. They usually live in the garage, and they don't usually want to come in the house. Only 3 of them will come in the house. The other ones are scared to come in the house. But Sister's getting very comfortable in here. Excuse me. So, all right, we're talking about the chain, how important it is to exchange our downloads, to develop them. And I did a post on the chain too, so you can read that, so I don't have to go into all the details of that. But again, it's the chain is the CH and then AIN, which is the 144 horsepower to spin. I1 power woman to grow up, mature, until I, even, nevertheless incessant, belonging to one. And Echa, inside chain, so the chain, ECHA means echo. So it's literally TH infinite echo in the chain. Gaping wound to mirror came up, and then we talked about going back to your childhood. Perhaps something needs a second looking or a third looking at. With the chain, the horse came up as well again, and silvering, the furthest back, mirroring the mushroom, the story about driving her off, seen as a dirty little girl or woman, a whore. A gold nugget, only 2 to 4 millimeters. That was interesting. Firewood came up twice that day. Let's see what else about the chain. So you can look at the number 144 in my post if you want to go more into that. Again, the bow and arrow came up. And here, the triggering of pi. So when you have the number 144, it's the arrow going through 3 ones, which is actually, right, 2 parentheses with a 1 in the middle, which makes pi, which an arrow is going through, which creates the heart, okay? And then there's a plus from Christ, CH, and then RIST is the crossroads. And the bow and arrow triggering pi to become the heart with a portal in it. The B of the feminine, ow, and the A of the O of the masculine. Triggering the sharing to shape the heart into a portal upward, right? To go inward in order to connect. Not he into she, but she in he, activated by Gaia to go in through the heart portal, or in other words, Christed, Christ-ed. So then Christ, Christ with a C and a K both coming up in relation to crystal. And it was coming up as Christalled, and Chris with a K, toad. Or in other words, Christalled is crystalled, or tall, becoming talled, is become risen, to become a higher version of yourself. And then Chris, K-R-I-S, toad, T-O-E-D, was coming up as the, let's see. You have to read it on my post. I don't think I rewrote everything here in the way I wrote it there. But it was like 2 versions of the same. And toad is tood, T''E''D. Chris, tood. The energy of Ris also is, the energy of is tood. The serpent energy came up here. The talled energy came up as carrying the anointed blueprint. The tree all spun back together again, having risen. And then the sickle and snake came up with the Chris toad or tood. The sickle snake ENT of the serpentine, the giant humanoid talking tree, waving and walking in the temple of the sword, Sophia's word, or E's word. 2 human U's road. The sickle and the snake are the Sophia's inner child key and Sophia's man or humanity and stone key, the sword and the stone. Sophia's wise Ea, so wise as one, the family and lovers. Her word and tone and his path of one. And the tiger came up with the definitions here too, with the sword. SW, one of the meanings is tiger, which took me back to the tiger-lioness connection. Tion literally means tiger-lioness. His human road and her path of one, so it goes both ways. So all the words that came up that meant carry were Magdala, Ga, G-A, from Sumerian means carry. I-L means carry or raise. Chris and Chris mean one who carries. And Kai, C-H-I-A, means to, C-H-A-I means to carry. And then from Murpha, C-F means carried forward. Yeah, so check out the 144 post as well. The Christos and the Christalled. So the two, right, two of the same coming together. The Christos and the Christalled. The Tude and the Tall, the one who is risen and the ones who have been paired. I went back into Himiko, came up again too. But we'll wait on that. She's supposed to be buried in what they think is Nara Prefecture. Okay. Let's see what else came up. What I need to do. All right. So then on the 28th, I have the Tall Tale, this one here. Okay. And this is just one deck with those cards, and I actually have them right here to go more into the underlying energies. But the cards came out with Pinocchio first, and then these two cards. And this is so much like Beyond the Universe, the movie. This is very much that energy. And then the opening to discovery. And this is a fox-like creature, right? But not a fox, exactly, different, with ears open wide. And this is the story that comes up from these cards and the underlying energies here of where I started from. I think it was from here, like a deep breath, and the rose's kiss of the 9, so 7 and 9, and close encounters of the 2 butterflies within and without of transformation. And then the 2 of the roots of abundance, again, the trees and the Y and all that energy of the branches. And then the tender embrace of the 2 elephants, the 22 is the fool's journey. And there's room 222 again. And the 49 of being willing to release or make a wish. Those are the underlying energies there. And so this was a very important message. And this is 237. Now, a Tall Tale about Pinocchio sitting on a top hat. The Hermit's wheel turning, and room 222 at the crossroads. The ladybug and the rainbow rose kiss, dust in close encounters of butterfly within and without. She visiting he in cage or prison. Talled and Tude, Virgo and Libra and higher selves. Many roots of abundance and mitos, or my toes, and fool's tender embrace of 2 elephants kissing and big breaths, which is what elephant means, and the 9 of Cups. Pinocchio, this is at 10:55 a.m. on the 28th, and this was cut at 9:30 if you want to know. At 10:55, Pinocchio no longer needs Jiminy Cricket's guidance. They can stand on their own. The 9 of Cups is there to make a wish and release. When you wish upon a star, it makes no difference who you are. So the wounded warrior surrenders, satisfied with himself, sitting on Geppetto's tall hat as Pinocchio goes for above that. But do we believe in his tall tale? The first card here is the 7 of Wands, that little fox-like one with ears wide open, standing their ground and confident, waiting for news beyond the ordinary, letting go of sadness, loss, regret, and taking heart beyond the universe in energetic exchange or everyone else, opening up the roots of a tree, a brand new tree from or out of a big trunk. Roots aside, the Earth star resides. And the Earth star is supposed to be the last to develop when we're anchored into the Earth after we've opened our crown. Gaia's sealed connection clears the roots, the key to opening to discovery, or discover and reveal, and recover when all is cleared out. There was this energy of beyond. So it's taking me like beyond, like 23:45 is quarter of midnight, but taking it to 33:45, beyond anything you're aware of, the high ground and the low ground, the Christ consciousness and standing up for yourself in a dance of the 4 at the crossroads of stability and structure in the heart, and 5 of the throat and freedom, the rainbow bridge of 33 to purge hurts at 0 point to be free. Not Christ, 33, but 21, the divine feminine 2 and the masculine 1 that purge like Christ. And then I was getting crap, which is C rap, Christ's rap, to purge like Christ. And it's funny because crap came up already. And poop it out. The key to the stars is to lighten up. And then, i.e., of course, the 1,000 suns. The spinning back to gain momentum forward. The fox's spirit of discovery on the fool's journey of Aries arising to balance into 0 point. Ears wide open, beyond the ordinary, opening to discovery. And I broke down that whole sentence of Adam and Eve, or Ea, to awaken. 2 creators who cross paths. ID temple, I of 0 point. The source embodiment, or pen, P-E-N, the house of the Lord, master priest, be temple, and Y in the road. On divine spinning planet, with a giggle here, or 2-man ray opening, the 0 point house of the Lord master priest in God, or little t's leap to big T, the 2 and 2 of Sophia and Christ over Y. The 0 point creation temple, the open house at the Y, before you get to Petticoat Junction, which represents the crossroads. The invitation to practice at the Y as you swerve side to side, like my Aussie does, because he's a sheep herder, making choices and going with the flow until you come to the 4 or crossroads of great horsepower. Driving right and left until you no longer need to drive because you're horse-led. So Adam Eve, which came from the red group, which is now changing to Eve Adam with ladies first. ADM Eve, now Eve Adam. A-da-M, fathers rising. A and M, both perspectives of mountains, rising and dawning, whether tunneling through the mountain as the capital A, or climbing the mountain as the M, discovering the valley between the 2 mountains, the point of creation and getting to the other side, of mountain and the people's remembrance, reflecting the silvering, quote unquote, farthest back to the root of all creation, C-R-E-A-T-I-O-N, where instead of give a damn, it's Eve a damn. As C, the letter C, the ocean sea, the eyes that see, the sea of the leap, the ark, the rainbow bridge, the whispering bench, to the open house of Eve and Adam, or Ea and Ea, which is what Elena Danan says are Ea's, or Enki and Enlil's real names. Ea and Ea, which when I spell them, they are both E-A, it's just one is a long E, with an emphasis on the E, and the second is a short A with the emphasis on the A. So Ea and Ea for the A. An eat connection, or tiger lioness, source on. And by the way, moon breaks down to M-O of Mary Magdalene and O-N of the Christ being turned on by source. From Christ consciousness to Christ ed, the 144 plus or minus 1 equal and congruent with the spinning planet, or Gaia. And again, the reference of seeing the arrow go through the pie into the heart to become the heart. One equal and congruent comes up as the giant humanoid tree, Lord Master Priest, turning 33 C Rainbow Bridge on. Grew or gur, you, as in Y-O-U, but also E-W-E, the ewe that became the ram, both fresh and sweet and mature and salty. The rament, R-A-M-E-N-T, the scrapings or shavings, to row and rammer, have a hard time or be in difficulties then. The open house of the ray of the mountain, AM, the giant humanoid family tree, of Ray Me NT, which is need or an explosive energy, or two-way bridge to source. And then I was getting me, as in Aries. It was really funny. And from the Tower of Kai to dark night of Mem, where Mem is the 13th letter of the Semitic alphabets, and Kai is the 16th letter of the Semitic alphabets, and M-E in Sumerian is the gift of civilization, starting with me, the bridge between Ra or Re and NT, or NT. I always get nitroglycerin from NT, but it's also the N of the two-way bridge and the T of the tree, the top dog. The open house Aries, arise, tunneling through Ram, because Aries is I am. The bridging to Christ Ed tree, the bridge to the tree of the spinning planet I am. At 11:17 was the mountain tunnel to the two bridges and trees, right? Because inside the mountain you don't see any bridges or trees, but outside you do. Ramming through, boring a hole, Eva Dam, E-V-E-A dam. And the word V-E came up over and over again in everything after this. So E-V-E-A dam. So again, a reference to Eve and Adam, where Eve observes Adam, the temple or holy place of offering, the Green Mountain Tunnel. And E now A. E comes and goes with A. And Dam, Adam's father and mother. Right? Da and M is Ma. So Anu also came up again as one with Gaia, G-A-E-A, which is Ga, which is carry. I told you that already, and then Ea. But also in an orgasm of lava, as he said he'd be there as support to Ninhursag. And not magma love coming up, lava here coming up, but Magda love, explosive lava, Anu lava with love. Uranus, Uranus is also spelled with an O at the beginning. This is from ancientgreece.org. The son and husband of Gaia, Uranus, where Gaia is also referenced as ether, or with ether, having Uranus. And then it went into the history again of them, because it's very hard to parallel Kronos. Cronus is obviously identified with Saturn, but not with the Sumerian and Lil and Enki's specifically. And then Zeus, they always talk about. It's very confusing in the history, because some stories say Zeus is above all of them, but in other stories, Zeus is the youngest, and he's the, in all those, the Greek stories, they're all, the fathers are sleeping with the daughters and the granddaughters, so there's, children all over the place. But in looking this up again, and them talking about fathering the first generations of the Titans, and then, of course, the Olympians are after that, but and then Tartarus, which was supposed to be like the hell place that they're thrown into, that he threw his monster kids into Tartarus, and Gaia didn't like it, right? So she fashioned a sickle of the hardest flint, and remember, the sickle is supposed to be like Sophia's inner child key. So none of the kids would kill Uranus, which is supposed to be Anu, except for Kronos. And apparently, slayed him into 1,000 pieces and tossed him into Tartarus. And also, stories were of his blood creating the nymphs, the satyrs, and the others. Some say 4 brothers helped him hold him down, that they were involved. So Cronus gave each of them a corner of earth. Lopetus west, Hyperion east, Koios s, and Creus north, or Creos. And Aphrodite came up there too. But when I into this one site I was in, literally, they go to list the protogenoi, and it was literally titled as VE. So like I was telling you, VE keeps coming up. And that was from GreekMythologyFandom.com. Because some say that Anu is Sumerian Zeus, and that his name was Enlil in Babylon. But that's not what I get. I had actually gotten that Zeus is Ea's son, the one who sided with Enlil. But anyway, going through all of that, I'm not going to go into all those details. But Tartarus was significant in Wiki was referencing the Bible in the book of Enoch, 400 to 200 BC, that God had placed Uriel in charge of the world, plus Tartarus, 20:2, the place where 200 fallen watchers or angels are imprisoned. And it was coming up as Tartarus comes up as twin thrones, US. Some say that Tartarus is for wicked angels, and that Gehenna is for wicked humans. And it's just so funny how spirits parallel everything to your life so that you understand them better. Because my daughter's destiny number in Gematria is Ariel, and her boyfriend is Uriel, but spelled with an O, O-U-Riel. And here now we have Uriel coming up again in charge of the world, where Tartarus is for wicked angels, and Gehenna is my daughter's name because Jenna is spelled with an H, which is the place outside Jerusalem that's for the bad, right, the wicked humans. And then Israel in the Bible is Ariel, which is her destiny number. So it's just so funny how they came together. So in Elena's book, A Gift from the Stars, in Pleiadian, Tar means throne. And in Sumerian, Tar means to untie, which is right interesting because we're untying the knot, or untying the king's knot rather, between the third eye and the crown. But it also means to decide or scatter and tear apart or cut down. And US can mean lean on or follow, and sheep or side on the edge of the path, to border on or adjacent to, or in other words, be separate yet standing side by side. Cutting away the disease of needing to lean on, follow, or lead sheep. And just one moment. This was some more recent stuff. All right, so, and did I show you the right one? I did. So, let's see here. All right, so this is the last full message. And we're at 254, 255. Okay. going as long as I thought it would. Let's see. That's good. Hello, sister. She's at my feet. Hi, honey. You want to say hello? Come here. You want to say hello? Come here. Oh, come here. You want to say hi? You want to say hi right in the video? Right there. I don't know if you can see her face. There she is. There's sister. She wanted to say hello. All right, so here's the 255. I got to get this done, and then I got to go feed the cats because they're getting hungry. Let's see what I've left. It should be good. All right. So in this message, it starts with the underlying energy of heaven after self-initiation, projecting 2 by 2s for others to see. The King of Wands across the water, and the Fool and 5D, loving all that is. The choice to free yourself to the truth of the fairy tale and accepting the 2 of Cups blood dance of bliss and sensual awakening. The Piglet or Mouse or Emperor perhaps, and lovers at the crossroads of forgiveness. Simple really, as lovers look up, the 3 of Cups, the bride offers herself. The Page of Wands, the guardian of the soul family, and the 5 of Swords, post-inner war, the Temple of Liberty, where twins gather. Which is funny because I've always seen the Pleiadian ship coming into the altar above the Statue of Liberty as the angels or twins are at the bottom of the Statue of Liberty. And here was coming up as the Temple of Liberty where the twins gather. And my daughter's literally there with Oriel. So the Knight of Pentacles Swan comes up here with the 6 of Cups and just for a moment joy, which is coming up as a blast to her heart. The 9 of Cups, Woman of Light, showered, getting her wish, or in a shower of pure white bliss. The 6 of Wands, simply devotion to the small, which someone could be getting their wish as getting some just quiet time in the house. After the sweet soul rising from the light field, in and on the bridge, sister, and I wrote SIS down here, and sister's climbing up on the couch now as I'm losing my voice again. Sister, and a wake-up call of man of the earth and woman of the sky, and going within to receive her grace. With his rings of time, the star grounding and integrating, life lessons and power number, or 44 and 7. She's looking at the device right now. She's so funny. The key in shifting universes, and then self-initiation of the hanging man as the vehicle to projecting heaven on earth. The 2 of Pentacles, juggling act or performance. The King of Wands and leap of faith to release anxiety of the truth of the 2 of Cups, fairy tale bliss. The Emperor's separation. It's simple as black and white. The joy of the bride offering herself. In 26, birthing the new, ending the inner war at the Temple of Liberty. The Knight of Pentacles and 6 of Cups. A shower perhaps to get your wish. To leap, or keep it simple rather, and attend to the small. She's in my lap now. And nature calls. No, I don't think so. As nature, the small is coming up as nature's seeds as well. It's all right, Teddy. The eagle leaps with the Page of Wands without fear of the truth of the 2 of Cups, or the Emperor and Page of Wands grounding and integrating 26 at the crossroads of forgiveness and joy of 26, or the Emperor's journey to the King of Pentacles, Hermit, with the Knight of Pentacles, 6 of Cups, getting their wish on their journey, or the Emperor and Empress excited to face their fears with the Hierophant and Hermit, or the King of Pentacles, 96, which is that bow that ties together, untying the King's knot with key on the Chariot, of the 6 of Cups, sharing bliss of the Hermit's journey. The lovers share, the lovers satisfied, getting attention or at attention, or in other words, observing and leading the way by example. Okay. And then we have, this is the last part. Yeah, which expands a bit. So again, underlying energy of heaven This is the same cards. I read it the first day, and then I did this again on the 29th. The Queen of Cups, the strength and power through cheer, connecting the dots as eggs move to the womb. The group ovaries signal the womb that something is coming soon. The Six of Cups, their higher self, gift a present unwrapping and not a moment too soon. As the Queen of Cups High Priestess is present to 52, which is the Queen of Swords, but Lady Liberty here, seeing now her receiving the light and slammed by the light field on the bridge as Sweet Soul rises from Pisces to Aquarius. And the North Node moves to Aquarius July 26th, I believe it is, 26. This is Aquarius bearing Pisces' water and giving it up to God in a final judgment as man and woman walking into that good night and within, untying the knot, the king's knot, and with source support, as ladies lay down their hair, their rainbow hair, which is like from the movie Aquarius, to the gold, green gold, filling up the golden ball of light with three-eye Atlas, the eagle's eye at last. Atlas, the love of Sophia and her grace, God's race. And then George Burns and Gracie came up, Gracie Allen. And with George Pop, my uncle's name was Pop and George, and all in. The star extends her hand as Bella tricks and B tell Gauss. She extends her hand for rings of time, her grace rings of time, star grounded and integrated, 17 and 44 equals 61. Both Grace Kelly and Thoth here. That's what I couldn't think of. It was the Grace Kelly facing the bird, Thoth, bound to chair. And again, I told you it was coming up as my parents for me, Mary Grace and Constantine. The Queen of Cups to gift the Queen of Swords of the Ancient Ones with her presence on the bridge where Sweet Soul rises, an offering to the age of Aquarius, and Hercules, or the emotion of laughter, and her being Q-less, or her harvest. The rings of time are coming up as RNGS, OFTIME, parents' dreams for her, a supernova life lesson and power to shift the universes through self-initiated awakening. Good night, star dreams upward, and her harvest and key to the hanging man, to perform the 2x2 in a projection of heaven on earth and grounding it into reality as she is the movie, the move E, M-O-V-E and E, Mary Magdalene, place of longing, and the temple of the heart in the vortex of the cyclone or cycle of one, in which we collect 2x2, 4x4, 8x8, 12x12, or 144, a 12 squared or 1 and 2 square of the masculine and feminine, and their dance to 1-8 from 1-4 or 18 or the Chi dance. Born 18 to learn 144, the 8 of higher vibration of Hercules and Heracles, her harvest and Hercules, Heracles and he, Reikis, or Rockies, however you want to see it. Rockies, and Reiki was coming up with that. The Reikis. Aligning to get your wish with truth and balance and satisfaction with self. And this was so interesting the way this came up. All right, so think about this. So the letter S of Sophia, right, was coming up as, the S is the circle. So if you collapse the S, it becomes a circle. It's the spring, because a circle really isn't sealed. It's a spring. It's an arced line back and forth. So the S is the circle, pulled open into a spring. The pond of water into a spring, SP ring, or house for ring, which is a box spring, a support for a bed or bed rock. a connection to the center of the earth. So it was coming up as the energy coming into the crown as this, the Sophia circle, and then the circle of grounding into the center of the earth. Excuse me, the masculine was coming up as the grounding into the crown, and then the feminine as grounding into the earth was coming up as Lucy. My aunt and uncle are Lucy and George, but it was coming up as George of the Jungle and Tarzan, and then Lucy, the movie, right, where she disappears and becomes everything and nothingness all at once. What's seen in the rays, not what the ray portrays, from the center or the bullseye, where the horse's head and shoes, or Horus's head and shoes, and Sophia's yin and yang. Because I also showed in my post of 144 how when you make the heart with the bullseye from 144, if you turn that sphere 90 degrees, it becomes the yin-yang symbol, because the heart from the front may look like an upside down 3, right, to make a heart over a V. But when you see the heart from the top, it's actually a swerved S, not like 2 lumps that have been poked in. So it comes up as the yin-yang symbol. Now, if you look at the yin-yang symbol, you'll see that it's 2 rings, a bond enveloped. And if you made those rings transparent, you would see the empty space, right, between them, which becomes a circle with the 8 right here. Let's see if I can get my finger. Where's my finger? Okay. Where's the circle with the 8? Right here. Okay. And this is the 698 pod, which then the other way, when it's facing, the 8 is facing diagonally that way, becomes the 968 pod. That's what I always talk about, inside out, through and through, going through from the 2 peas in a pod to the loosening of the knot into a bow. And here is, again, another reference to the knot in the yin-yang symbol, and undoing the knot to become a bow. So the S is the coil or spring, the pressure in the middle to break, but instead breaking, it curls. And then it curls back upon itself. So the 1 takes the S and makes it an 8. The circle with the dot in the middle, or the symbol of the sun with pressure on it, to become the heart, which becomes I and O. She's like clawing my knee now because she wants dinner. The I-O, which also is EO or I, when 2 as 1 over O, the sun with a dot in the middle, come together under pressure, is both the heart, which we talked about how that creates the heart, but it's the heart and the S of soul. 2 rings under pressure to break. If the 2 rings of yin-yang were transparent, you'd see the 698 pod, but turn the S or Sophia an 8th turn, and magically 968 pod is a bow, not a knot. The 8 runs away from the spoon, the S poon. The 8 seems to move a quarter, or actually has it moved not 90 degrees, but 270 degrees, as you can't tell which is which. The 698 yin-yang is a knot, the 2 ring enveloped, but 968 is a higher love that first shifts both 90 degrees and 270 degrees, depending on your perspective, and making it whole as 360 degrees. You notice 6 and 9 are Gemini and Virgo, the 2 mercurial energies, which is, right, Mercury's conjunct with Venus today. Where 3 come together, let no man put us under. Source as we are, the degree to which source rises. And remember, arises is Aries. So again, this reference to the spring and the fall, the wellspring of knowledge bubbling up, right? Pegasus stomps the ground and creates a spring. And here we have Sophia's spring here as the house for ring. Sophia's house for the ring, or a box, and a spring, or bedrock. But anyways, coming up, bubbling up from the earth. And then his fall, like the picture of the masculine falling and the female arching up to catch his fall. He is the fall guy, George of the jungle, Tarzan. I know they're two separate things, but it's the same idea. The fall down, the pop, the fall guy, the fallen angel of expansive bubble pop. So again, that bubble phase coming up. And the two circles coming up on the side, I have them on the margin here. See, right? So the masculine coming into the crown, and here's the feminine bubbling up from the ground in the spring as the S. And they're coming up as the fall in the spring. And the two circles are coming up as cross-eyed. So again, bringing up the cross again. That this, you just can't see the circle, but if you bring these together as one, which makes a T, or an upside down T, if you bring them together, this circle can just be a line. But if you see it from the top, it would be a circle with a dot in the middle representing the line. So again, it brings the cross into being again. And then so I was smelling something like moldy, but I think it was a psychic smell, because nothing was going on at the house at the time. But this read extends to a collection of eggs from the Queen of Cups' 3D ovaries and then womb, the pearls of wisdom of Sophia in Gaia's tomb. As 2 and 9, or 29, comes back to 11, or alignment, and a higher octave of vibrational frequency. Her gift of the spiral, spring, the dance of the goddess, which goddess is the goddess, the fallopian tubes and bridges and tunnels from the ovary to womb, from pearls of wisdom to Fall Guy's tomb, the 5 and 2, that when 5 and 2 are squared, whereas 2-5 is the magic potion bottle, 5-2 is the projection screen, like a TV. The projection TV, or telepathic vision, of the Queen of Swords and Ancient's light. The 639 of the light field, bending the bridge to pressurize the field for wake-up call, for sweet soul to rise up, a springboard if you like, to meet halfway, away and within, the man of the earth and woman of the sky. She rises to catch his fall, her grace and his rings of time, or Tai and me is source me, her SOS and his Thoth, which Thoth is the O in the middle, the human embodiment of source, that's infinite on either side, as TH, the nth degree, on either side. God's race, Ra, or Re, C, the 10 of Cups, and his in God, Sophia, to source me. Her call to his infinite experience on both sides. Her spring, his tree, of one-to-one power and strength, as she goes with the flow to spring into action. There, 17, 44, and 8, and then key 7 to ignition, shifting universes, with 12-3, both self-initiating from a higher perspective. 70/7 is the 2 of Pentacles chariot hanging out in a balancing act, in a performance of 2 + 2 is 4, 4 + 4 is 8, 8 + 8 is 16, and 16 and 16 is 32, which is the journeyman. Shifting universes, or universes, self-initiation, were coming up as, when I broke it down, Sophia's high foot in God, or digamma source, digamma is 2 gamma rays, source in little t's leap, to 1 IV sudden event, with Sophia or spring of unified holy place of offering, or egg awakening rising to the temple of Sophia. Sophia's elf, or LF, which means leaf or 2 in it, I at connection, or in ITI, which is like IVI, co-creation, but ITI, of his co-creation with Tyon, tiger lioness connection, or Tia connection, which is supposed to be, Tia is supposed to be the reptilian wife, or not wife, but that, and Nu joined with in order to bring their cultures together, of the Anunnaki and the reptilians, and Tia is supposed to be that mother of Enlil. So Tia, Tion, which is the tiger-lioness connection, or top dog connection, where source is on. The tree or source of Eo, or I, Christ Ed, Christ to Ed, the bridge, the whore sees head, right? I, Christ Ed, the horse's head, or sees head. So there's this reference to Mary Magdalene there with Christ. I, the horsepower, to her high priestess, at the crossroads to Ed, the talking head, or extra-dimensional divine spinning planet. May dance around the egg, or 5 is coming up there, could be the month of May, referencing there too. May dance around the communal egg, opening the heavens projection by July, across the water, loving all, the springs, the choice to free mind and accept the truth in the one-to-one blood dance of blissful awakening, the Emperor's separation to come together in joy in 26, excited to end the inner war. Birthing at the altar of liberty for all. The Knight of Pentacles feels the 6 of Cups tie, projecting light from her heart to be showered with light, heaven in her eyes, and embodied as she is seen tending to the vulnerable ones and planting seeds. And that ended at 133. Okay, so I'm going to have to break for the read on the table just because I have to feed the cat. So I'll do that read in a separate video, okay? But I thank you guys for coming and watching today. I mean, watch it in pieces. I know it's long, but there's lots of interesting and important messages there that even if you don't always understand everything I talk about, there are codes coming up that will trigger you instinctually to open up to something so that when you meet it, you will understand it because you'll be putting the puzzle pieces together. So I do want to pull one last card. Yeah, we'll do it from Fortune's Oracle. And it's 3:17 on the clock here. 17:17 it was. 2 stars and the mother. All right, just a takeaway for everyone watching. Take a big breath. At 3, these guys just came right up together like that. The bottom of the deck is the Cracker, and the 7, which is the Chariot, and this is like, you know, a fireworks takeoff kind of energy. As take a blast off to the stars. The 29 is the gift from the stars, and Sirius here. And the 13 of gold, and the 13 of the death card, transition, or some kind of ending here, or transformation of gold, maybe green gold. And the rings of time, look at that, the rings of the yin yang, and the 27 of the Ace of Wands, proposal. And someone may be making rings out of the gold that they have. A gift of transformation and proposal, being present in the moment, to the stars, to the gifts from the stars. And the cards read, hard times are over, look forward to an abundance of happiness, enthusiasm, and positivity. Progress is positive and personal goals will be achieved. A romantic or business opportunity is indicated. And this is the 3 of Wands. Again, the death card, or change, transformation, transition, and then the Ace of Wands, which is a new passion, and LinkedIn. And you notice the lady's face on the gold right here, and I'm getting the Statue of Liberty and the eagles. Present. And again, the death card is the Dark Knight, so it's the masculine energy. right? The gift of the dark night and a new passion or inspiration to link in or link up. And that could be in LinkedIn as well. Okay, but wow. That's all I got to say about that. And I will present that, the twin flame, this read on the table, in just a separate video. Okay, rising, be love, guys. I'm so happy to see you guys. It's been a while. Bye.